This meeting is called to order. Stella, if you'd please read the call.
Notice of public meeting of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville. Pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Act, notice is hereby given that the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, in accordance with Article 5, Section 12 of the Charter of said city, will convene an executive session, workshop, and regular meeting on Tuesday, November 7th, 2006, at 4:50 p.m., 5:15 p.m., and 6 p.m. in the Commission Chambers on the second floor of the Brownsville City Hall Federal Building, located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas. Executive session item A, discussion pursuant to Section 551.087 of the Texas Government Code regarding economic development opportunities.
Real busy day. Go ahead, Mayor. Mayor, someone do
All
go
right,
to
Stella,
executive
did you
session?
read? All right, we have a
I'll
motion to
second.
go. Second by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. We'll be in executive session. Stella, item A.
Workshops,
No
item
workshops.
A, discussion regarding Amigos del Valle.
Commissioner?
Mayor, rest of the City Commission audience, just want to give a brief report on some of the things that have been going on with Amigos del Valle. The mission of Amigos del Valle Incorporated is to positively impact the quality of life in the lower Rio Grande Valley of South Texas through the provision of diversified and effective human services, community development activities, and advocacy, which are directed to low-income families and special emphasis in assisting the elder population to maintain active, healthy, and independent lives. In its 32 years of existence, ADV, Amigos del Valle, has assisted approximately 61,080 unduplicated seniors through provisions of 13,058,656 congregate meals, 7,767,397 home-delivered meals, 4,048,388 one-way transportation trips, and 533 subsidized rental housing apartments through ADV's HUD Section 202 developments. With the dedicated hard work of over
Excuse me,
500
could you please keep it down, please?
senior volunteers who provide over 80,000 man-hours of volunteer work on an annual basis, ADV would not have been able to positively impact the lives of such seniors during its 32 years of existence. So much continues to happen at Amigos del Valle. We have a new director for this program. His name is Mr. Jose E. Garza. He has been with Amigos del Valle for many years now, and now we call upon his leadership to help run this great program. Our Chief Financial Officer is James Downey, and the Field Operations Director is Mr. Leonard Guerra Jr. I believe we have a great core team with these individuals. On September 29th, I met with Amigos del Valle at its annual retreat. It was here where we heard the various departments discuss their goals, objectives for the past year. I was impressed by the outcomes of each department and the efforts being made to improve services, as well as a few major developments in the future. Amigos will begin to offer catering services. Our central kitchen is doing a fabulous job, and they are ready to help continue to bring in additional income. Another key step in this equation is the establishment and separation of MIS and marketing. Before, MIS and marketing have been working joint, and we're going to decide to go ahead and separate the two departments so they could allow each department to focus on what is important in their area, but also market our program through a unique approach. Grant writing would also be a major focus for this organization this coming year. Finally, on Thursday, October 19th, I met with Amigos del Valle Committee to select a new executive board. Would like to thank the outgoing executive board members, Mayor Joel Quintanilla, who played a major role in a critical time for this organization this past year. Ms. Carla Rolick, Vice President, Commissioner Mary Gutierrez, Secretary Ms. Irma Garcia, Treasurer, and Mayor Joe H. Hernandez, Senior Member. The new executive board for 2006-2007 is Ms. Carla Rolick, President, Commissioner Emilio Vera Jr., Vice President, Mr. Victor G. Trevino, Secretary, and Ms. Minnie Martinez, Treasurer. I want to thank the mayor and this commission for allowing me to serve on this important committee. I will continue to keep you all informed. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
All right. You want to go to item B, or you want some more time? They had asked about putting it off as item C.
What? want to do?
You guys want to go next, or do you want to take care of item C
last.
Yeah, I'll
first?
do B last.
All right. Item C?
Item C, discussion regarding the 2003 International Fire Code.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners.
Evening.
Chief.
I have a small PowerPoint presentation and also a video for you all to look at. The 2003 International Fire Codes were adopted by the City of Brownsville in August of 2005, and it was implemented effective January 2006. It was a consumer-driven ordinance. We were being asked by the consumers, which is the developers, when we were going to update our codes, because it was something that they wanted. Because most of their codes had, most of their plans had already conformed to the new 2003 codes. So they were asking us to do this, and that's why we brought it before you. I need to bring to your attention that the ISO, which puts our insurance ratings, is real adamant about watching the city's current rating. And most cities are required to have the most current fire code. Failure to adopt a set code could have a negative impact on our class rating, which will affect our insurance premiums. Go ahead. Under the International Building Code, Section 90327, Group R, it requires that an automatic sprinkler system be installed in accordance to that section, and should be throughout all buildings with an R fire area. A residential Group R is residence occupancies where the occupants are permanently transit in nature, which is like your hotels and motels. Your R2 residential occupancies containing sleeping units or more than 2 dwelling units where the occupants are primarily permanent in nature, which is your apartments, boarding houses, condos, dormitories, fraternity houses, and things of that nature. There is an exception in there that allows residential sprinkler systems if there is going to be 20 heads or less, which is 20 sprinkler heads. Go ahead. If a building has sprinkler systems, there is a 20% savings on the insurance premiums or more. The 20% was a figure that was given to me by the State Farm. That is their current rate that they give us as a savings. Go ahead. The U.S. Census Bureau says there are 38,174 units in the city of Brownsville. These are homes, residential homes. In the city's census of the Planning and Zoning Department in 2003, there were 63 apartment complexes across Brownsville with 4 or more units, which add up to 4,986 units total. Go ahead. Fires over the years in the city of Brownsville. Your data shows up there that we've had 50 in 2006, 83 in 2005, 82 2004, and 83 in 2003 residential fires. Compared to apartments, we've had 7, 13, 19, 14, respectively. Compared to the units that are out there, 0.2% fires occur in residential houses across Brownsville, compared to 21% in apartments. I have a small video to demonstrate what a sprinkler system does in effectiveness. I would like for you to look at it, if you have some time, sir.
No sound?
Audio?
Because it's a non-event. People who die, children who die, are someone's child. Property is one thing to say, but a human life's another. Orange County Fire Authority had a unique opportunity to show the effectiveness of residential sprinklers at a Tustin Air Station. We took 2 buildings that were fire loaded the same, which means the combustible material inside the buildings were as close to identical as possible. The only difference between the two was one was equipped with fire sprinklers while the other was not.
This room is furnished to represent a typical bedroom. There are pictures on the wall, drapes covering the windows, a bed with pillows and blankets, as well as other items. The fire is started in a trash can. As the fire grows, it starts to make a run up the drapes. It takes just 60 seconds to activate the smoke alarm down the hall. As the temperature rises and the toxic smoke becomes dense, your chance of survival decreases by the second. The temperature in the room has risen so fast that your next breath would sear the lining of your lungs if the toxic smoke hasn't already taken your life. Listen closely. You can hear the hallway smoke alarm melting as the fire, radiant heat, and smoke spread throughout the rest of the structure. This time, smoke and flames attract neighbors' attention.
Fire emergency. I'm walking by a residence at 6830 Super Stallion, and there's fire and smoke actually coming out of an upstairs window.
Once the 911 call has been received, it will take approximately 6 minutes until the first unit arrives on scene.
125 enter 222. We have a six-plex, two-story residence, well involved, unit on the second floor. Start second alarm.
Local Region 222, copy your request for a second alarm, six-plex well involved, battalion fire.
It is now 13 and a half minutes into the burn, and the entire room is engulfed in flames. As firefighters enter the structure, they must first extinguish fire that has spread throughout the building, and then make their way towards the point of origin. In this room, the smoke alarm was placed in the bedroom and activates 10 seconds after ignition. In the previous burn, the smoke alarm was located in the hallway and took approximately a minute to activate. We see the same fire behavior displayed as before as it rises from the trash can and continues to grow and become hotter. As it grows and consumes the combustibles on the wall, the fire begins to roll across the ceiling. The sprinkler then activates, cooling down the room, and within minutes puts out the fire. Keep in mind, in the previous burn, the fire department didn't even arrive until 6 minutes after the 911 call.
Common sense would tell you that sprinklers are a good thing, but I had no idea of how dramatic sprinklers can be in actually putting out fires without the presence of firefighters.
On the non-sprinklered side, there was total devastation. The only thing that remained was the frame of the bed and wire hangers in the closet where the clothes once hung.
The fire gutted the entire room. When you looked at the damage throughout the rest of the structure, what I thought was interesting was there was still a substantial amount of damage, but there was no what we call fire loading in the rest of the building, which would mean furniture and other combustibles. So it completely destroyed that entire room.
In fire prevention, what really surprised us was the temperature. And not the temperature at the ceiling, which we expected to rise quickly, but how quickly the temperature rose at the lower levels. Within 2 minutes, it was over 200 degrees, which made it an untenable space. On the sprinklered side, it was a completely different story. As the fire moved up the walls and started lapping at the ceiling, the sprinkler activated and extinguished the fire within a very short period of time.
You had a little bit of scorching on the wall, some damage to the container where the origin of the fire was in the trash can, and a little bit of water, and that was pretty much it.
There's no question that fire sprinklers save lives. There's no question that they work. The reason why you don't hear about it is that it is a non-news event, in that nobody dies, seldom is there an injury, and there's very little property damage. We'll respond units. By the time we get there, we cancel the rest of the units as a small mop-up operation, and that's all that's done.
I understand that developers, people who build homes and apartments in commercial buildings, have a lot of heartburn over sprinklers because they do add cost, they add expense to construction. But I would suggest to you that any developer, any builder who actually sees a demonstration, a real-life demonstration of what sprinklers do will change their mind rather quickly.
What really convinced me was how quickly the sprinklers attacked the fire, how quickly the temperatures dropped, and it would have given, I think, any occupant a reasonable opportunity to get out.
This is one of those add-ons that is just a kind of a no-brainer, it seems to me. Yeah, you're going to pay another, $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 in the price of your home for sprinklers, but look what you get for it. I mean, people are paying far more than that kind of money for some ridiculous cosmetic improvements in their homes, and they pay it willingly.
People see fire sprinklers portrayed differently in the Hollywood through movies. For example, you might see the prankster that takes a match and lights off a sprinkler head, and then the whole building, all the sprinklers start spraying water, and that just doesn't happen. It's just the one sprinkler head over the fire, and as the fire grows, there may be a few other sprinkler heads that activate, but you don't have the deluge throughout the entire structure like they portray in the movies.
Residential fires are not only dangerous to civilians, but to firefighters as well.
When you see what it is that firefighters have to do and the risk they have to place themselves to fight a fire that otherwise would have been out before they even arrived, I mean, it's just, it's frightening. It's so dangerous. And this eliminates the danger, eliminates it.
The advantage to having a residential sprinkler system installed is that's basically like having a full-time firefighter 24/7 on duty right there in every single room of your house, ready to activate at any given moment, and they will have that fire.
Okay, that pretty much closes. They're mainly talking about residential fires on this one, but that demos the importance on apartments. In apartments, we have more people together. Small fire can impact not only the family where the apartment is, but it impact 4 or 5 or 6 other different families. And that's why we feel that the 2003 code should be stay intact this way it is, sir.
Thank you,
I
Chief.
entertain any questions from you all.
All right, thank you, Chief. Item D, discussion regarding the Brownsville Tennis Association.
McNeil.
Yes, thank you for allowing me to be here this evening, Mayor Trevino, City Commissioners, City Manager, and all of us that represent the City of Brownsville. The purpose of my request to be on the city agenda this evening was to give a verbal update on the Brownsville Tennis Center. The Tennis Center is a public facility, as you know, which the city has so graciously allowed tennis players to run it. The board of the Tennis Association will be ever grateful to the city for encouraging us tennis players to plan the tennis center. For as a result, we won an award for Facility of the Year. We are probably one of the finest tennis centers south of Waco. The United States Tennis Association, the CEO of the Tennis Association has used us as an example, and he talks, when he goes to his national meetings, he holds us up as an example to the nation. Our board is composed entirely of tennis players, and many have children who are players. One great example is a young man who, as part of a Brownsville winning team in a tournament at John Newcomb's Tennis Ranch in New Braunfels, Texas, and because of his exemplary behavior, Newcomb's Tennis Ranch chose him to go to Wimbledon, London, to represent his tennis ranch. This was a young man by the name of Kiki Montemayor. His mother is on our board. After 5.5 years of operation and 5 professional tennis tournaments, the center has increased in the number of players who participate in all levels, from juniors to super seniors. Super seniors, a group that I personally qualify for. Tennis is a healthy, lifetime sport. I've been playing for tennis for 67 years. We now estimate that 12,000 to 15,000 players use our courts each year, which correlates to 60,000 to 75,000 since we opened in April of 2001. That includes all the leagues, of which there are now 9, for both men and women in various skill levels, some who have competed in state championships. One of our proudest is a junior group of 11 to 14-year-olds who you all honored right here with a proclamation. By the way, I don't know if you knew the results. They played against basically 55 different teams and from some of the largest cities in the U.S., and they've placed 4th. They played in the finals, they lost in the finals, then they, like a double elimination tournament, they then played for a 3rd or 4th. They lost in that match, but they took 4th. One heck of an accomplishment. Our youth teams who have competed at Nuke Tennis Ranch and won many sportsmanship awards for both team and individual sportsmanship awards. These kids not only honor themselves, but they also show what Brownsville is made of. There's a small kids group of 4 to 8-year-old kids that is run by Cassie Godell that is creating a great deal of excitement, and many of them are moving on. Our director of tennis, a true professional, is one who of the few who has a triple certification for teaching pros. He's certified by the United States Tennis Association, he's certified by the International Tennis Federation, and he also is certified by a new group in Europe called RTP, which he received at the world-renowned Sanchez Casals Tennis Academy in Spain. So the young man is very well qualified. Our center is somewhat famous in that other cities here in Texas have heard of our success of the facility and the programs. We've had calls from Abilene, Terrell, Rowlett, and I personally attended a workshop in Houston where Fort Bend, Tomball, and Beaumont all wanted to know what we do and how we did it. Both McAllen and Harlingen met with Carl Chilton, the father of our tennis center, and myself at the tennis center. Did I kick something? And wanted to know what we did, and Harlingen is currently working hard to copy us or maybe even try to outdo us. The tennis community is very, very grateful for the support from the city and the city commission and all the city departments, including Parks, and a young man by the name of Steve Eubanks does a marvelous job of keeping our grounds in shape. As a city, what we really traditionally do is try to grow the game of tennis, for it is a healthy lifetime activity for both individual and family. Again, thank you for the opportunity to give this update and also to say thank you. Time permitting, would anybody have any questions about what we do?
Just keep up the great work, Jim.
Yeah, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Good
Good
luck
job,
in,
Jim.
good luck
By
with
the way, just a quick note, I received a printout of the people that signed in for the Challenger in Hawaii. Challenger is a tournament next step up from ours. 1/3 of the kids in the main draw played through our tournament here in Brownsville. 11 players made it into the main draw of this year's U.S. Open that played through our tournament. So we are getting famous all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Item B, discussion regarding repercussions of the impact fee ordinance. Commissioner Longoria and Atkinson.
Did this item be placed on the agenda? And simply because, like prior requests when they came from the developers, now we've gotten requests, and to the tune of 3,000 signatures and growing with our Catholic communities and our religious community. And I feel that we should revisit this item upon reviewing the minutes from the last minute when we rescinded, or when this commission rescinded 1217B. There was extra language added on there that had not been discussed in referencing removing a member from the kayak and adding other things that weren't on A when we had approved A. So based upon that, I would like to revisit, when we get to our consent agenda items, to revisit 1217 and the language that was inserted into B to address that issue, and to bring back into consideration, to bring back ordinance number 206, 1217A. And I believe some of the members from PUB do have a couple of comments, as do members of our religious community. Is somebody gonna?
Mayor, members of the commission, well, we've looked at, since the last meeting, and we prepared a couple of graphs at the request of our board members to show the commission. You might want to get that easel up too, and we can put them over here. We basically took a look at the fees are brought back to the 270, and
I can't hear you.
if the fees are brought back to the $270 impact fee,
It's 280.
with no, 280, I'm sorry, with no proposed future rate increases, what would that do to our capital plan? And then we also showed if we were to leave in the impact fee that the commission did approve with no rate increases, what our capital plan would look at. We have not met with the Capital Advisory Committee since this, so we have not looked at, in other words, what projects we wouldn't do, what projects, you may want to put it to the side over here so they can get it on.
Is it going to be up there also?
No.
Okay, so how do the cameras get to, how do the people at home get to see that? I'll just turn it around. We've
This
already
way.
seen it.
Back to the camera. And
All the way back over here.
maybe just sideways so the commission can see it as well. There you go.
That's fine right there.
The first one we showing is that of our original CIP plan of 113 million, if we left the 280 in with no rate increases, our adjusted CIP plan would go down to about 62 million over the next 5 years. The blue color, 48% of 30 million would be capital related, capacity related. Those would be picked up through rates, current rates. The yellow is capital improvements for maintenance, O&M type projects. And the red color, 5%, 2.8 million would be collected under the 280 through impact fees. And again, on that, we have not gone back yet to look at what projects we wouldn't do, because we'll have to also take a look at new land use assumptions.
Is that the 281?
Yes.
So what is, and for the simple-minded people, the yellow and the blue, who represents that?
The ratepayers.
The ratepayers.
Paid through rates, yes. Current rates.
And the red?
Red would be through impact fees. That's the one, if we were to implement the fee that's currently on the,
That one's the 281.
that's the 280. The next one we'll show you, the one you have in your hand.
John, which board member asked you to prepare this again?
Mr. Amata?
Okay.
Yeah. Again, the yellow and blue are through rates, current rates, assuming no rate increases in the next 5 years. We could fund, and the red being 22 million would be through impact fees if we kept the 2133 that the commission had approved that's in place right now. Again, what we would do, depending on what the commission does tonight, is go back to the Capital Improvement Advisory Committee, start looking at which scenario we're going to run and which projects we would do or defer, new land use assumptions. I would encourage the commission, if we're going to do this, we do take a hard look at the land use assumption, because that is what drives capital plan. And if the land use assumptions are flawed from the beginning, the capital is flawed. So that would really need to be taken a hard look at.
The land use plan that is under consideration right now called for growth of approximately 15,000 over this 5-year period.
That's correct.
Right. Now, looking back at our history over the last 5, 10, 15 years, what's the best or the most growth we've had actually in 1 year?
We close to 2,000. We do over 1,000 new connections a year.
And that's
kind of standard right
and
now.
Right now, it's about 1,000.
Yeah,
and
over 1,000.
it's been running a little over 1,000 over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, and that's what's driving this, is that land use plan. If that's accurate, then we can certainly extend some of these projects out. If that is accurate, then we'd hold true with our capital projections.
Well, have we grown by 15,000 at any time in our history?
Not that quick, no.
Over 5 years?
Not that I'm aware of, no. And again, that's the key to taking a look at this is the land use. We need to do that. I think somebody independent needs to look at it and make a recommendation that everybody's in agreement with. Because we just work with what's given to us for the capital plan. It's just engineering.
Well, let me ask you something. As CEO of PUB, not Pat O'Mala, not with all this stuff going on, I don't care. I'm asking your opinion as a CEO of PUB. Is it smart to go back to this 280? I mean, are we going to put more burden on the ratepayer eventually later on?
I mean, you mean go back to it and permanent?
No.
No, well, just to go back now.
I don't know what the answer is, Commissioner, to that. I mean, we were collecting under the old fees. We started to collect under the new fees and didn't have it in place more than a week or two to know if there was any impact or anything that I could tell you that, Commissioner, there is going to be a big impact. Maybe we need to take a look at that. We never had enough time to even have any history to tell you that there's been some issues.
What he's getting at, John, what he's getting at is your opinion as a CEO of PUB. If we continue at the current rate at 270, is it going to affect PUB?
Oh, yeah, that's too low. It's too low. I think we all agree that figure is severely outdated and needs to be.
Will it affect our rates?
Yeah, I'll take the rates to do the work we would have to do with that low rate, we would have to continue to have a series of rate increases. I mean, if you looked at our plan of finance that we took to New York, we were supposed to have rate increases this year. We deferred those for this rate impact fee study. So we have a plan of finance with rates that are projected with the low impact fee.
And I just want the people to know, too, if we say we're not going to raise rates, we already said we're not going to raise rates, and we don't raise rates and we keep it low, what can the state do?
Well, not immediately, but certainly down the road, we would be probably forced to raise rates.
You'd be forced to raise rates, and when you do, it'd be at a pretty big jump.
Oh, it'd be down, again, really don't want to get in that position.
I know we don't want to get in position, but what's going to happen if we don't raise rates and we don't pick up this?
You're going to be mandated, particularly on the wastewater side, to make improvements to serve.
Mandated by the state.
Yeah, sure.
So either way, it's going to come.
Yeah.
As it was in 1990.
Yeah, I mean, at that time frame, we didn't have rate increases for some time, and we caught up in a hurry.
Okay, let me stop you right now because we got gloom and doom twins over here. I want to ask you a question then. If we are in this situation where we are threatening or we're in a position where PUB infrastructure is such that it is subject to being taken over by the state, are we lacking in facilities or infrastructure, water, wastewater capacity right now?
No.
Is there any threat that that's going to happen in the foreseeable future, Mr. Brusiak?
Not in the near future.
Okay, then let's be honest, okay? I understand that there's different opinions on this, but let's be clear about the information because that's been the problem that's been going on. There's been some confusion with regards to the information that's being provided to the public.
Understand, as I'm saying, we are not in a position right now where we have a problem. 5 years from now, we're going to have an issue. 5 years from now, not today. We're in good shape today. It's just, what are we going to do in the next 5 years? That's what this whole thing is about. A plan with rates and impact fees, or a plan with no impact fees and no rates. And that's we need some
We
guidance.
do have time to look at this and do it right. We do have time to do that.
Sure.
I don't think nobody disagrees that we need to go up on impact fees.
Let me ask you something. PUB's doing good because we've been raising the rates, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
And the refinancing and the plan of finance. The city's been doing good because of that too. So both, not just PUB. We just need some guide. I think we need to, if you're going to rescind this, we take a look at it immediately, come back with something.
Exactly. We do not want to delay this. I've already said it, that this commission is not going to continue to put this burden on the back of the ratepayer. If we need to adjust the CIP along with the land use, so that we can raise the impact fee at a rate, at a number that is manageable, that does not put it put us at a competitive disadvantage in comparison to the other cities in South Texas, then we can do that, and we want to do that. But let's, this should be a situation where we're all looking for a fair resolution, not an either-or. And the other part of this is, by raising or not raising the impact rates, that's not going to have an impact on the rates unless this commission decides that it must raise or lower the rates. We're the ones that are going to decide that, aren't we, Mr. Brugiat?
That's correct. We have no say in it.
We've already said that we're not going to continue raising the rates.
That's right. That's right. We have no say in that.
Well, let me ask you something, Mayor, real quick. 2 weeks, we didn't even get to see if it was manageable.
Well, I don't think a delay of 90 days is going to create a situation.
I agree with you, but
Commissioner.
2 weeks was,
Well, this was a situation where I felt 2,100, going from 300 to 2,100 overnight was too much, too fast. Had we stair-stepped it, I think it would have been. I understand your position, and you've made it. We didn't give it enough time, and maybe you're right, maybe you're not.
Any questions from, that's all we did is looked at current and future with that. Go ahead.
Okay, Mayor, thank you for giving us the opportunity. We really appreciate it, Commissioners. But I think it's important, people here are sending mixed signals because this is a 5-year plan. And that means that if we don't implement this plan within those 5 years, the state can come in. So don't dismiss it that the state cannot come in. The state can come in when you have the sewer running down your street because you didn't build the capacity to handle that. That's why the committee met, and that's why the city came together with the engineers. And they came up with a consensus. This is what we needed for the next 5 years in order to plan for responsible growth. If we don't adopt the plan, then we're going to have that problem that the commissioners related to where the state would come in. Now, there was representation on the kayak committee. There was diversified representation on the kayak committee, and there was a consensus on the kayak committee, and they made the recommendation to the commission.
Hold on, Mr. Amada. You reminded me of something. I have a letter from the chairman of the kayak that would like to read.
I want to let him speak real quick.
No, go ahead. Go ahead and read.
Okay, well, I'm hearing what you're saying, but I have a letter here, and I want to read into the record. It's by Mr. David Vela, chairman of the Brownsville Kayak.
Yes, sir.
And it's dated November 6, 2006. Honorable Eddie Trevino, Mayor of Brownsville, and Honorable City Commissioners. As you continue to discuss and debate the matter of impact fees, please allow me, by means of this letter, to dispel some misinformation. Assertions have been made, both directly to you and in the media, regarding the recommendations of the Capital Improvements Advisory Committee, or kayak. As chairman of this committee, I would like to set the story straight. The kayak was charged with the following. Number one, to accept and adopt a land use assumption based on data and analysis performed by staff members of the Brownsville Planning Department and PUB. Number two, to accept and adopt a capital improvements plan, CIP, based on data and analysis performed by PUB staff. And number three, to accept and adopt a maximum impact fee as calculated by an independent engineering firm based on the land use assumption and the capital improvements plan. This was then to be referred to the City Commission for review and final determination and adoption of new impact fees. As you are aware, the determination of this maximum impact fee was not a recommendation by the kayak to adopt the maximum. Our final charge as a committee was advisory in nature, and we made no recommendation to the City Commission regarding an actual impact fee to be assessed. In fact, and in point, several committee members agreed that any recommendation would be short-sighted on our part without first reviewing an economic impact study. In my opinion, a decision of this magnitude should be made only after a thorough economic impact study is conducted and reviewed by yourselves in the interest of all citizens of Brownsville. A decision made solely on the basis of political posturing and rhetoric would be a grave mistake. Sincerely, David W. Vela, Chairman of the Brownsville Kayak.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cisneros and Mayor. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed because I think you have members here in the kayak committee, okay? And if you read what was forwarded to the commission, you had a maximum, if you know how to read English, maximum allowable, okay? We didn't recommend 3,090. We recommended that you look at the maximum allowable, and y'all decided not to adopt the maximum
So
allowable.
is this letter not true, or you didn't understand it?
I think the chairman has good intentions. But I think for him to say that we wanted to do an economic study is wrong, because we never did, and I don't think that was an
believe you should
issue.
have.
Well,
I
you got
believe
other
you should
members
have.
here, and that was not even part of what was forwarded to the commission. Never, I don't think you saw that in the recommendation forwarded to the commission.
There were no
But I'm not here-
recommendations,
I'm not here to
Mr.
debate
Amala.
with Mr.
There were no recommendations made. Quit saying
yeah,
that.
but, okay,
You
but-
had your findings, you did your work, and you sent the studies afterward. You did not make any
We sent for you
recommendation as to a high
consider-
or a low. You
for
said
you to
this is what it
consider-
is.
For you to consider the maximum allowable. That's what was done. We never made a recommendation of what
But
you're
Mr.
saying,
Amala, you
economic
keep
study.
speaking
and all
on
that.
behalf of the kayak, and I have
I'm
some
not speaking on behalf of the kayak.
Then you're speaking on behalf of yourself.
But you have been.
speaking
Yourself.
on behalf of the PO board. But let me finish, okay? Now, there was a consensus, and it was forwarded to you for consideration. Y'all adopted 2001-33. Y'all adopted it.
I didn't.
Okay,
Yeah.
the commission, the majority here, okay? And then some issues were raised, the sprinkler system. We proved that not to be true. There's no impact fee in sprinkler system, okay? Because people were saying, well, the fees are too high and all this stuff because of the sprinkler system. It had nothing to do with it. We talked about water rights, that water rights should be part of the impact fee. We got an Attorney General's opinion today, that water rights are not part of an impact fee, so that dispels that. We talked about, people were saying that we didn't follow
I'm
the
sorry,
statute.
Mr. Amala, who said that they should be part of the impact fee?
Yeah.
It was discussed that it was that.
It was discussed at the kayak?
It was discussed
Oh,
at the
okay.
kayak.
All right.
Yeah, it was discussed, and it was discussed by developers with us also, and PUB, on the PUB board also was discussed, as you very well know, Mayor, okay? But also, it was discussed that Statute 395 was not followed, that we weren't following the law. That's not true. Nobody's been able to prove that we did not follow the law. And it was also said that the small businessman with 2-inch meters had to pay an exorbitant amount. Well, we went and did a search. We haven't found a 2-inch small businessman. We haven't found a 2-inch small businessman. We found business people who require 2-inch, but they're not small business people, okay? The majority are 5/8 inch, an inch and a quarter, okay? Okay, we right now, based on what we adopted, 2001-33, and then going back to 270. Just on that window, excuse me, just on that window, okay, when developers flooded in to get in there under the old rate, we lost in revenues, if you were to, had applied the 2001-33 instead of the 270, we lost $2,661,637. And if we keep losing like that, it costs us more because the capital improvements are cost-driven. It has nothing to do with you or me or what I set the rate at or what it shouldn't be. It has to do with recouping the cost, okay? And like they said right there, in order to recoup the cost to where it keeps rates down, we're asking developers to pay 27% out of 100%, and the citizens pay the rest, okay? So that's fair in order to keep the rates down. But we're not here we always told you, we're here to accept whatever you give us. I just don't think you need to throw out the baby with the bathwater and start all over again, because what's going to happen is what happened again before, where you saw the flood of people submitting plats.
No one said we have to start all over again.
Yeah, but by rescinding this, you have to start all over again.
No, we just have to do it right.
Do we have to start over again, Jim?
The process goes, but the information can still be
Yeah.
utilized, Mr. Mala. Mr. Mala, we have to begin our regular meeting. We appreciate you being here with us again.
Finish here.
I have one comment to make, Mr. O'Malley. You made a comment that PUB lost. PUB didn't lose anything. They didn't collect. All those prepaid fees that people went in and paid are totally legal. There's nothing illegal about paying the fees that were in place at that time.
But
So
what
how
I'm
can
saying
say
is,
you
you
lost?
open up the gate for others to come in, and those are the kind of losses we're gonna have. That's what I'm trying to tell you, because it's cost-driven. It's gonna cost us this amount to do the capital needs, and they're only paying this share. They're not paying the full share. So
was it
we're
wrong?
losing money.
Was it wrong for people to go and prepay?
I don't have any problem with them, people following the law, but by you rescinding this, you're gonna open the door for people to come in legally, okay? But you're giving them the opportunity to come in at the discount rate, which we, the ratepayers, have to make it up. That's what you don't understand. You rescind this right now, people are gonna start working on plats. to submit like they just did when we implemented this, to get in before the new rate kicked in. They're going to come in with new plats, new subdivisions under the old rate of 270 instead of collecting the 2,133 so we can do the capital improvements. So that shortage has to be make up by you and everybody else in Brownsville. And I don't think that's right, and I don't think that's fair because it affects your rates. And that's all we're trying to do. We're trying to keep rates down because I think that's what you want too. Okay? But let me finish. Let me let somebody else speak.
One quick comment.
Somebody else speak.
You're saying though that we were leaving the door open. So you're saying then prior to then that vote, had the fee been the way it is, nobody was going to come in and want to develop here in Brownsville? Is that what you're saying? No. Okay, so then
That's what it sounds like you're saying.
No, we had how many?
There's a lot of misinformation being given out.
We
just
should
need
be
to deal
looking.
with the facts.
We should be looking
We're
for
doing
that
the facts,
number.
sir. You don't understand.
We're not
it.
dealing with the facts.
We're losing
You are-
$2 million.
you are not dealing with
$2
the
million.
All right.
Oh, you want us to put the spin to it?
Thank you.
No,
Thank you, Mr. Mala. All right, we're going to start the regular meeting right now. If everybody would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Jose Alfredo Ibarra and Karen Garcia. If you would please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the
Texas, one and indivisible.
All right. Pastor John Phillips, lead us in our invocation this evening.
Pray. Our Father, we love you and thank you for this special day. As a nation, we have the privilege to vote and the privilege to let our voice be heard, and we thank you, Father, for that privilege that you give us. And Lord, I pray for this leadership here in this room, for our mayor and the others that are leading our city. And Father, you tell us in the scriptures to, if we seek wisdom, and we ask for wisdom, you'll give it to us, and that a wise person seeks counsel. So I thank you for the wisdom in this room. I thank you for the wisdom of these leaders, and we ask, Father, that you would bless each one of them, that you would protect them, you'd give them good health, you'd protect their families, and Lord, you've given them to us as a city to lead us with the wisdom that comes from you. So we thank you for the privilege of praying and seeking you. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Item 1.
Mayor, members of the commission, please help me welcome our Employee of the Month for November, Virginia Diaz. All right. Virginia comes from the planning department when she was initially hired, and she moved to the building department about 3 years ago. She's just a wonderful asset, always welcomes everyone with a friendly smile, has learned all the functions of that department. She's in charge of all the commercial files and has become one of our training officers for people that get hired. She does a lot of the training and helps everybody out. Of course, this makes it easier for her and others to perform their duties. She performs all tasks. She helps us with volunteerism and is always available for us at the city manager's office or any other department. So we really consider her a big asset to us, and she's got a great smile. And of course, she is the Employee of the Month for November. We have one more employee before we choose our Employee of the Year, which will be at our banquet in December. So congratulations to Virginia. She's got a lot to say to you guys, so hold on.
Come on up.
Thank you. I want to take this time to thank the people who had helped me along the way. Of course, my director, Mr. Evaristo Gomez, for this great honor, my family for their support, my friends, Susana, Norma, Lisa, and Bridget, for their friendship. To the City Engineering Department, to the Fire Marshal's Office, to the Historic Downtown Heritage Department. It's always a pleasure working with their staff. Mayor, Commissioner, and Mr. Cavalier, I will continue to provide the best customer service to my customers that comes from my door. Thank you very much. This is a great honor.
Thank you, Virginia.
Thank you very much for everything you do.
Of course, Virginia gets the traditional plaque, the cap, well, I'm sure she'll wear, and employee of the month.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Kepler.
Thank you, Virginia.
Thank you.
Item 2.
Item 2, consent agenda items A through E.
Mayor, I so move that we remove item E from the consent agenda item, and we put it in a regular order for discussion in our normal agenda.
Your motion is to,
If you look at the top, under number 2, under consent agenda items, all
Right,
consent agenda items
right.
listed are considered to be routine by the city commission and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a city commissioner so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda item
Okay.
and considered in its normal
Right.
sequence on the agenda. So I'm asking that E be removed and we open for discussion under public hearing.
all right. We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Atkinson, motion by Commissioner Longoria to remove item E for discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion
Nay.
carries.
I'm Nate.
All right, before we get to item E then, let's get to items A through D.
I so move to approve.
Motion to approve items A
Second.
through D.
Second.
All in favor? I'm sorry,
Aye.
motion by Commissioner Longoria, seconded by Commissioner Nettles. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, item E.
Item E,
I'm sorry, 2E, I guess is right.
item 2E,
Yeah.
approval on second and final reading of ordinance number 2006-1217B, rescinding ordinance number 2006-1217A of September 19th, 2006, and reinstating ordinance numbers 90-1213 of March 20th, 1990, ordinance 90-1217 of May 24th, 1990, reestablishing the 1990 land use assumptions within the certified water and wastewater service area of the Public Utilities Board, the 1990 capital improvements program, the 1990 maximum allowable, and the 1990 actual water and wastewater impact fees, providing that this ordinance be cumulative, directing the Brownsville Public Utilities Board and the City Planning Department to maintain or reinstate appropriate pre-October 1, 2006 city development regulations and water and wastewater service policies relating to impact fees, directing the Planning Department and Public Utilities Department Board to refer the 1990 impact fee program back to the Capital Improvements Advisory Committee for further study, and directing the Brownsville Public Utilities Board to make certain impact fee rebates, providing for severability, providing for governmental immunity, providing for injunctive relief and other legal remedies, and providing for an effective date retroactive to October 1, 2006.
Okay, Commissioner?
Is this a public hearing?
No, it's a discussion item.
I thought we were reopening it as a public hearing.
That's what we voted on, didn't
We voted on it as a public hearing.
we? And you said it too.
Public hearing was
Right.
closed last meeting.
Public hearing was closed last meeting.
You voted,
This is
you
an
asked to
action
vote for
item.
it separately.
It's an action item.
Are we allowed discussion? Is there any member from the religious community that's going to speak? Father Frank?
Mayor, may I just,
Yeah, can you do that, Jim?
it's permissible for the commission to allow people to comment on an item that's being discussed. I would remind everyone that the commission permits to speak, that the rules that allow this also stipulate that no one's supposed to address any individual commission member, that these are comments that are directed to the commission as a whole. and it's not to take the form of a dialogue between the commission and the people that are offering their opinions, but most particularly that no one should be singled out or addressed individually, but just comments made to the commission as a group.
Yeah. Go ahead, Father.
My name is Juan Trevino, the pastor at First Presbyterian Church here in Brownsville. First of all, I want to thank you, commissioners, for this consultation. I wanted to present to each of the commissioners, if you give me permission, and the mayor, of course, the additional signatures that we've collected this week from Protestant pastors. Would that be all right for me to bring them to you or hand them to you?
Yeah, I'll take one.
There's 10 additional.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. How many signatures are these?
22. 12 Catholic pastors, 10
Oh, these are
Protestant.
pastors, 12 pastors?
12 Catholic pastors, 10 Protestant pastors.
Oh, no, 19.
This is just the beginning. We've got petitions here too. Don't let me forget to come back to the petitions. I want to make a statement though. I'm Father Jerry Frank, pastor at St. Joseph Catholic Church with Valley Interfaith. In order to continue growing, Brownsville must invest in needed growth-related water and wastewater projects. If you had remained firm on your September 19th, 2006 decision to increase impact fees to $2,133 per residential lot, over $80 million would have been available for capital projects, of which developers would have paid 27%. From that total of $80 million, $51.5 million of growth-related projects would have been constructed, with developers' impact fees covering 43% and projected income from customers covering 57%. $80 million of capital projects and $51.1 million of that for new growth-related projects, while a huge investment, is considerably less than $113.6 million and $84.6 million of that for growth-related projects, which a $200,000 engineering study in your own kayak recommended. As you know, PUB water and wastewater rates have been raised on numerous occasions in excess of 200% since 1990, whereas impact fees, which developers should pay as their fair costs of doing business, have remained all this time at $280 a lot. The city of Brownsville issues about 125 building permits for new houses each month, or 1,500 new houses per year. If a new homeowner has to absorb an impact fee of $2,133 for the price of a new home, this amount could be spread out over the life of the home mortgage. It could add $10 to $15 per month to the mortgage payment. On the other hand, if ratepayers have to pay additional rates to fund capital improvements, then 43,000 customers would see their rates increase forever to pay for these improvements. However, you are on record as promising not to raise rates, which hopefully includes not resorting to revenue bonds, which would keep the burden on ratepayers. And developers surely can't be counted on to pay as they go. The only remaining choices then are either to raise impact fees or abandon growth. Spurred on by developers, however, you have chosen to do another study, this time on the impact of impact fees on growth. We perceive this newest study as an unnecessary scheme to relieve developers of paying their fair share. It will create more conflict so that you will be forced into doing yet another study on the objectivity of the study on the impact of impact fees on growth. We also fear that your study's attempts to compare Brownsville with other Valley cities will focus exclusively on impact fees and overlook other germane facts, such as a comparison of Brownsville's high water and wastewater rates with the low ones, for example, in McKellen, or PUB's $7 million subsidy last year to the city of Brownsville with McKellen PUB's zero subsidies to their city. To be candid, we fear that the City Commission's planning department will pre-select developer-friendly consultants who ideologically oppose impact fees. We've already seen an example of this bias in the new ordinance you passed. It clearly targets the most articulate advocate for higher impact fees from continuing to serve on the kayak. Didn't the people of Brownsville reject this kind of politicking in the last election on PUB matters? In conclusion, we pastors, Valley Interfaith, and PUB ratepayers ask you to abandon this gratuitous study
To reestablish the impact fees at $2,133 as per your September 19th decision before you rescinded it less than a month later, and to stand up for the overburdened citizens of Brownsville. And I have the first round, and this is just some of the Catholic churches. We've got 3,000 signatures to date supporting this request, this petition, and we'll be working zealously to increase that and to multiply it many times over.
Any other discussion?
Do you want to see these? Do I need to show them to you?
Oh, we'll take your word for it, Father.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the commission. I'm just going to be brief. I'm here tonight to respectfully ask you guys to look at this item on this part of the agenda over, because this is removing a member that PUB currently has on the kayak. And, they worked pretty long and pretty hard, every member of that committee. And now the way it reads, the way this reads, it makes the chairman of PUB, which is me at this time, the new member of the kayak. We're going to be choosing a new board member there at PUB in a couple of months, and we do that every year. So, in the spirit of continuity,
not if we like you, Chris. You might stay for another year there.
well, I'm for tradition and everybody taking a turn like it's always been. But if we go back to that every year, we get a new chairman. Where's the continuity? Because that's a lot of information that they have to absorb. And then for somebody to be replacing them every year, it's like if you replace every member every year. So I just come to ask you that you look at this carefully and see if we can keep it intact for the purpose of continuity and so we can keep the group intact. Thank you very much.
All right.
Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, Madam Commissioner, I'm Robert Sanchez, PUB board member, and when somebody asks their future wife to get married, she says yes, and then within 2 weeks, nobody's going to change it on the wife and say, no, I'm going to get out of the marriage. Those are decisions we made. You folks made a decision. Unfortunately, the charter allows you guys to go back and rescind it. It got rescinded to the 280. There's a lot of folks in town that are struggling. Businesses are struggling. Folks are trying to move their businesses out of here. I got 2 businesses here in town. It's very difficult to make the ends meet. The utility bills are extremely high. As a board member, I've done what I could there on the PUB board with my colleagues. We want to do well for the citizens. I respect that you all have come forward and said you're not going to raise rates, but we have this situation at the PUB where those funds need to come in. I just hope you all could reconsider the 2,000, with a fee that you put at a little over 2,000. It wasn't the 3,090. I sure hope you could reconsider it, because if not, there'd have to be maybe some personnel cuts at PUB and other capital improvement cuts, and we don't want to do that. As it is, when I ran for city commissioner, soon after that election, I didn't make it, but soon after that, the majority of you all voted to raise the PUB rates, and that was a little difficult to handle as a business owner and a citizen of Brownsville. Please, I hope you all reconsider. Thank you.
Mr. Sanchez, let me just make a comment. As a city, we always amend or change our CIP plan. So it's something PUB can do too.
Right.
You just learn to live within your means.
Okay, you got a point.
Just
but
because the CIP is written like that doesn't mean it's written in stone.
Also, I noticed that you guys got in your reserve funds $15 million. 12 million are unrestricted. 2 or 3 million you got to spend it a certain way. I hope you all realize you have about 12 or 13 million in the reserve fund. You all can spend it how you want. I hope all of you all realize that and understand where that money's going, with 4 million free utilities and 4 million cash going to the city of Brownsville, and you all already have $12 million in the account. You got to do something about these impact fees. It's not fair to the citizens of Brownsville. You folks have $12 million in the account. That's an extra fund there. You can spend what you want.
Do you-
I
do you
saw it on the
have- do you
financial
have
books,
any
Mayor.
idea what you're actually saying?
Yes, I do, because I
I
do.
mean, you were
and-
okay up until the point of the fund balance.
Mayor.
Do you
I-
understand, Mr.
Mayor-
Sanchez, that that fund balance is there because our bond agencies require it? Good fiscal policy requires that we have that money just in case an emergency should occur?
Sir, I
understand that?
Sir, I understand it.
Pete,
Sir,
not what you said.
No, let me talk about it, sir. I would love to have a workshop with you and discuss these items in
Well,
front
you
of the
keep
general.
saying
Hold
free,
on,
you keep
let me
saying
talk,
free, and that's wrong.
Let me talk. I would love to discuss it, open session with the general public on television.
It's on
and we
television
could-
right now, Mr.
Well, I
Sanchez.
mean, can I have 30 minutes and we talk about it,
No,
you and me
no, you
alone, in
can't.
front of everybody?
No.
So we can understand it? $12 million.
No, I'll tell you what.
$12 million.
Thank you
I'm
for your
just-
comment.
sir,
We'll-
I'm just-
Thank you, we'll discuss it
I got
another time.
I got a right as a citizen, sir. I'm just
No,
talking
you made,
about
you
it.
You made your position on, with regards to the item that's
Okay.
before us. Thank you, Mr. Sanchez.
You didn't
We
like
appreciate it.
how I viewed it, and that's how I analyzed it.
Appreciate
And
it.
there's experts that analyze
Appreciate
it that way, sir. I'm sorry you couldn't understand it that way.
Anybody
Greg.
else?
And then I'm gonna read that letter.
You should have read it.
I'm gonna read it right now.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Commissioners. My name is Leanne Greer. I am a member of the KAYAK. The committee met and we came up with this figure as the top figure of 3,001, whatever it was. Now you've sent us back to readjust our figures, to re-look at the land use assumptions. Okay, assuming we tinker a little here and say maybe it's not going to work, maybe it's not going to grow there, maybe it's not going to grow here, maybe it's just going to be this much. And then the calculations are driven by the 395. We don't have choices. So just assume that when the calculation comes back, it says the top number is $2,133. What are you going to do? You have the power right now to set it wherever you want to. The 3,001 is the top figure. The 2,000 was chosen because it was 16 years ago. But no matter what the KAYAK does, or what figure we come back to you with, you have the power, the duty, the obligation to set the figure. We cannot do it. You can do that. I don't know what the procedure for doing it is, but it seems to me that no matter what we come back with, it's not going to be less than the 2,133 as a top number. So just consider that we're going to spend a lot more time and probably a lot of someone's money tinkering with it and trying to come up with a lower number, and it's still not going to be lower than what you voted already.
Anything else?
Let me point out one thing. I noticed in this petition that you had 3,000 people sign, Father, and the other priests. It indicates that the rates for PUB's regular customers have increased numerous times to exceed 200% since 1990. Mr. Brusiak, please correct me if I'm wrong. Water has gone up 105, and wastewater has gone up 109% since 1990. All right, you don't add the two. They've doubled, but they haven't quadrupled.
Yeah.
That's one of my complaints, is that you're giving information that is incorrect and you're misleading people.
And you complain about the 200%, yet,
Go ahead,
yet from 280.
You've
hold on,
already spoken,
Father
Father.
Frank.
Mike?
Yet from 280 to 2,133, that's a 700% increase. You don't want 200% increase, but you want a 700% increase. See, there's a lot of misinformation, and you're not, if it was the way you all said it, I'd be in favor of that too, but it's not
Father,
that way.
you just don't add, because water went up 105 and wastewater went up
Misinforming the
109.
public.
You don't add the
You're
two.
misinforming the
You don't
public.
add the two. No, the percentage is correct.
Just
What I'm
said it.
saying is that you don't add the two to come up with 200%. Well, that's not, that's still inaccurate. That's still wrong.
Still inaccurate.
That's still wrong.
Mayor,
Mike,
if I
thank
may.
you, Mr. Miles.
Okay,
Pat-
let Mr. Garza speak.
If I may, you know,
Mayor,
it's,
may I?
it's honorable.
No, you're distorting it.
You know,
You're misinforming the public.
And you know, if you, no, you've already had your opportunity to speak. You've had your opportunity to speak.
And that's misinformation again, Mr. Ahumada. You keep doing the same
Wait.
thing.
Somebody else gets a chance to speak besides you and Mr. Ahumada.
Go ahead, Mr. Garza.
Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, Mike Garza, I'm a local contractor. I am a member of the St. Luke Catholic Church, and I was there this Sunday at 9:30. And I was astonished to see the Catholic Church petitioning something and showing us information that was, as you pointed out right now, kind of misleading. You know, I praise the church for doing their part and trying to help our community, and they keep doing this, and it's great. But when you make a decision based on facts that are presented to you and you mislead the person, I sat there and the priest said, your impact fees were $280, and we increased them to $2,130. And this was presented back in October 17th. And we want to go back, and we need to have this petition signed, because if not, the rates would go up. We've discussed rates, and there's promissory notes that rates will not go up and so forth. Now, what I'm looking at is when somebody signs a petition, they need to have the facts in order. And in this case, they're not in place. People need to know that the cost, now, if it's 16 years, it went up, what, 100%?
109 and 105.
109 and 100, this is water and wastewater. This is 100%. And now, all of a sudden, 16 years have come past, and within a study, an independent study, to now, we want to raise it 700. I don't understand that. I really don't. You know, from 100 to 700, I mean, it's ridiculous. The proposed plan right now is for the kayak committee to meet, look at this whole scenario, and come back with an increase that's feasible for our growth. That's it.
Exactly.
I mean, we're not arguing that we don't want an increase. We just want an adjustable increase that will promote prosperity and growth to Brownsville. We don't want to say, no, we don't want to increase.
Being told.
Yeah, we want to do this in a gradual step. We want to step into this and find out if we're doing the right thing. Look, you know, humbly speaking, my background here in Brownsville, I'm born and raised here in Brownsville. I'm educated here in Brownsville. You know, my mother immigrated to the States, raised us. My father passed when I was little, and she set us to a point where to speak for our rights. If we're right, speak. If we don't speak. I feel that the citizens of Brownsville need to know the facts. We need to know where our impact fees are going to lie. Where is it taking us? Now, the dream, everybody talks about the poor people, the low-income people. Well, what dream does a low-income person have in Brownsville? To become a property owner and have their own house. That's the ultimate dream, right? Well, guys.
Against that.
Okay, we're not against that.
That's not right,
No,
Carlos.
not you, but that's what they're telling the public.
say that,
They're saying that
man.
we're against that, and we're
The
not.
scenario here is we all have a common dream, to become something and do something with our lives and pass this on to our children. You know, by doing what we're doing here and arguing back and forth, it's not going to accomplish anything. I feel that the citizens of Brownsville and the kayak and the PUB board and the mayor and its commission really need to recap, look at the whole scenario, and come back with the people. And that's what the last meeting was all about. We're not denying, or we're not saying we don't want an increase. We just want an adjustable increase. That's it.
I had asked at the last meeting whether we could pick another number that was lower than the 2133. And I've been told by legal, both here and outside, that we couldn't do that. I wish we weren't going back to the 280, because that's not really what I want to do. But that's what we legally have to do.
Mayor, and
other than staying at the 2133, and I just am not comfortable with staying at that 700% increase overnight. The other question that we should have done, or the other thing we could have done, is stair-stepped it. You know,
That's
going
it.
up 200%, going up to 700, going up to 1,000, going up to 15 over 4 or 5 years. And I wish we'd have done that. We're inventing the wheel. This is something that should have been going on year to year over the last 16 years, and it wasn't going on. We're trying to do all this for everybody's benefit. But to think that whether the rates, impact fees go up or stay the same or go to the maximum, that your rates are gonna go up, we've already told you that they're not. This is gonna force PUB finally to start living within its own means, just like the city has to do.
Yeah. And you know what, Mayor, I think the consensus has been that we all agree that we need to go up on the impact fees. The difference is the amount, how much to the point that we do not stunt growth. And that's something that we as commissioners, at least I personally, have to consider and look at.
Going back to the study, Commissioner, going back to the study that was performed.
Let me ask you to wrap it up, Mr. Garza.
Okay, just real quickly. This study was based on a 5-year history. Now, granted, 5 years ago, our interest rates, we run a mortgage company, and our interest rates are not what they were 5 years ago. If we're projecting a growth for the next 5 years and basing it on that study that was passed, there's no way our interest rates are going to go back down to 4. I mean, and nobody can promise us that. So how can we justify making an increase based on a study that was based on 5 years past when our interest rates were at a minimal of 4%? Just got to be reconsidered.
Thank you, Mr. Garza.
Thank you.
All right.
Let me just say something real quick, to say that we're going to vote not to raise rates. We already said that, we're on agreement with that. But nobody's looking at the charts from before, where in 2008, we have to do something.
And not
Now,
700.
Huh?
Not 700%.
That's assuming the same CIP that's been proposed.
So to say that we're not going to raise rates, it's just how much in 2008. If we stay low in 2009, we're going to raise it a lot. If we come up high to 2133, which I think y'all voted your heart and you changed your mind. Now
I didn't.
You're going to have to go back and you won't have a bigger rate increase if you stick with the 2133. In 2009, we're going to go, I might not be here, none of us might not be here, but it's going to come back and say, hey, we're going to raise rates, or we're going to be forced to raise rates. How much? What we do now is going to affect in 2009 how much we're going to have to go up. So we're just trying to plan ahead. That's what it was.
Adele, if you could just quickly say, because I'm not going to let everybody speak on this. We've had plenty of public hearings, we've had plenty of public comment, and we're going to continue to discuss this issue.
Mayor, we had public discussions on A, but when B was brought back, there was extra language on there, which is what I'm going to refer to
That's what we're
next.
supposed to be talking about.
And we will address that, but this needs to be brought back.
B,
Yes,
oh, the issue of Mr. Amada?
yes.
Well, go ahead, Couples, make it brief.
Honorable Mayor, members of the Commission, I'm not here to tell you whether you need to raise them or not raise them. I'm not here as a proponent of the fees or against the fees. I think all of us understand that there needs to be an increase. I'm really here to just clarify a couple of items. Number one, when you were mentioning a few minutes ago about the 106 and 109% increase, I think the public needs to know that 50% of that increase was more than likely due to cost of living increases between 1990 and 2005. That's the first thing. The second thing is that approximately 37% of that 102 or 106 increase was due to the fact that when the PUB members and the City Commission went to New York to try to improve their bond rating, they were requested to make sure that each of the components of the utility were self-sufficient.
Correct.
And in order to do that, there was a rate increase of approximately 37%
In 1990.
Had nothing to do with impact fees, had nothing to do with all of this. So in the net increase that had to do with perhaps the impact fees or anything like that would be, what is it? The balance is what, 13 or 18% or whatever that is?
15,
That
30,
is
yeah.
the effective increase that would have been affected by this issue between 1990 and 2005. The other major thing that I think has been wrong, and I was taking a shower the other day and it just dawned on me after you had adopted it. I don't know why I've been thinking about it. You know why the City Commission in 1990 adopted the small fee? Because in 1990, the City Commission were recommended to adopt a 2,133 fee, but they adopted 270. Why? Because in 1990, the model rules of the state had not been adopted by the city. What that means is that the people that were paying the fee were the actual end users, the people that were actually going to be paying the meter. And from 1990, this is something that I don't know why it hasn't come out, and it just dawned on me, like I said the other day. From 1990 to the year 2000, the users were paying the meters. The city of Brownsville, and I don't know whether any of you were here I don't keep track of the dates that well with.
Commissioner Hernandez, he's been here forever.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, then, Commissioner Hernandez, you remember in the year 2000, the City Commission adopted the model rules which require the developers for the first time to pay the impact fee.
That was a Colonia bill, correct?
That was the Colonia bill. The first subdivision that was ever brought before the city to pay an impact fee was one of my subdivisions. I always wind up being the pioneer, I don't know why, but
Who do you work for?
for me.
What's your name?
Company is Chavez
Engineer.
Automated Design Consultants Corporation.
And that's what we're talking about, Mr. Chavez. There's a lot of information that needs to be looked at so this can be done right, and there's a lot of misinformation that's not being given.
And see, the last thing is, the first subdivision was in 2001. So the developers have not been subsidized for 16 years, and they've only started paying the fees in 2001. So from 2001 to 2005, that's when the developers started paying the fees, and only because the House bill required for them to do it, but the end user is the one that's still paying it. If you adopt 200 today or you adopt 3,000 today, the developers can pay it. You don't see any developers here today because they know they can pay it. They know they
They're
can
the ones
pay
that can afford
but
it.
the people that are going to be hurt are the people in the end users. And I'll tell you
That's
the last
right.
thing I'm going to say right now. On October the 3rd, I went to the PUB to try to arrange some things on some of the subdivisions I was working with, and a gentleman was there walking like crazy back and forth. And I approached him and said, what happened? He says, yesterday, Monday, the 2nd, I came to pay my $375 for my meter. And they told me that it wasn't $375. It was $2,228.
So, Mr. Chavez, let me ask you, in your opinion, if we were to go to 2,133, are we hurting the little guy?
Yes, that's the guy
why.
that I think you're
That's what the
hurting.
people are not being told. They're
I
reversing it.
disagree with you.
Thank you for that
that's fine.
information.
That's
If-
your
Mr.
opinion.
Chavez, if you
But
could
that's, we are trying to look after the
If
little
you could
guy.
get that information that you brought up this evening to Mr. Kabler to provide to the commission, I would appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Regarding 1990 and then 2000 and the Colonia.
Thank you.
Please understand, I'm not here
No,
proposing.
no, I understand.
anybody,
It's
Mr.
information that we all need.
And everybody here is my friends. You guys are my friends. I am
Want to
not
make the right
It's
decision and
information
do
that
it
we
right.
need.
here representing anybody but the truth. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Bueno, I'm here. The last thing I want to do is get into politics. I'm not a person to get into politics. But our Catholic Church does have a preferential option for the poor. And my parish, which is one of the poorest in this city of Brownsville, there are people that are consistently coming to me with a major problem in their quality of life, and that is with their PUB bill. And we need to be very cautious and do something to help those people. And this impact fee business is one of the areas that concerns me, because right now people are telling me that they're coming for food to our food pantry because their PUB bill is so high that they have to decide between paying the PUB bill and eating. And there are other people that are coming and with their lights turned out in order to buy medicine. For 3 months, I could give you a name of a lady who has not had utilities in her home because she had to buy her medicine. Oh yeah, well there's arrangements that can be made. That's what the comeback is. Well, they make the arrangements, but the reality is the bill continues to add and add for them, and their checks are not enough to go around. That's our concern, is the reality of our people of whom we serve. Now, you know, there's an adage that says the charity begins at home, and none of us is against growth. I have a lot of friends that come to Brownsville and say to me, my godfather, I've been here 7 years, boy, has Brownsville ever grown. And we should be proud of the fact that you've done a good job in promoting growth. But what about the elderly in our community? What about those people that can barely make ends meet? How are they going to continue surviving if we don't look out for their needs? You know, I'm not one to get involved with politics, but I do see what's happening is not good for our people, and I really think we need to look at it, and rather than continue to grow, look with where charity begins at home and deal with the issues of our families here that have built Brownsville, even though they live in small homes, poor homes, homes without the modern conveniences of the new areas. Let's take care of them first. Brownsville, I am determined to believe, is not going to stop growing if you raise impact fees. People are still going to buy homes. Maybe those people that are developing are not going to get as much a profit from their projects, but I don't honestly believe Brownsville is going to stop growing. It's a great place to live, but I think we have to take care of the people that are most in need. Now, in reference to the discrepancy on our petition, if that's what you're saying, was there any other errors that you find in our petition?
I haven't studied it. I just
Well, you
caught
sure
that
found
one.
that one.
I caught that one.
You found that quick, so
I
keep
caught that
steady.
one. Yeah, I did.
Father, and if I may, I just take
Well,
offense
yeah,
when
you know what,
people
here it is. Let's see.
in general go out and say that many of us or some of us here on the commission are for special interests. I can only speak for myself, okay? I know that I have to make a decision, and I have to make the best decision I think that is the best decision for everybody. I don't look too far. My father's on a fixed income.
Very good.
Okay? My father lives on a fixed income, and he pays PUB bills. If I make the best decision for him, then I'm doing it for everybody. So I'm not for special interests. I'm for the people, and I will continue to vote my conscience. Okay?
Okay, I invite you sometime, and we'll go for a little walk around my parish, and we'll see how many homes that you can really, in your conscience, continue to serve.
Absolutely.
And I hope you do, because
Absolutely.
that's what we're all about here.
Absolutely, Father.
And that's what the concern is of our people that are here tonight. And we have a bunch of people here from my parish that are telling me day by day, Father, do something, help us. We can't afford to live here in Brownsville.
Absolutely, and I would gladly sit down with you. Please call me.
Thank you, Father.
Expecting
Thank you for your
phone call.
comments. We gotta get moving.
Father Klein, your parish is in my district, as well as Father Frank's parish in St. Joe, where I come from. As I've said in the past, and you and I have sat down once really to talk about some of the issues as you've asked me, how many of our residents, my residents, can't afford to pay light bills and things of that nature. And when I ran and I got elected, I knew that the PUB was going to be the probably most critical issue, I think, of the term, and from this point on. With that said, I've never felt that I've turned my back on the people, in terms of that we're letting them, we're hanging them loose, and they're going to suffer forever. This impact fee does not do that to them. There are issues, a lot of income issues, family issues that we need to address, and I think we're going to address them in many different ways. But this impact fee does not raise their rates right now, nor did it raise their rates before, and now that we've studied the issue and so forth. But to say that just because of the recension of the vote means the impact fees will never go up, and they're going to it's going to be on the backs of the people, especially the poor, is really not true. We've never said it'll never get raised, and we've heard that a lot. It's never going to get raised. We're going to go 5 years, and the impact fee is going to stay the same. That's not true.
No.
You know, and so I take offense to that, to say that what we're trying to do, or to say don't support so-and-so, don't continue to work with so-and-so, because
that's wrong.
He's about the developer. Well, that's not true. I'm about the people in my district, in your parish, that are suffering on a day-to-day basis. We need to come together and say, how are we going to address that issue to help them income-wise? PUB, another issue that we need to address, and we will address it. But by saying that we're never going to raise, that the impact fee is going to stay the same to help a developer is incorrect. I don't agree with that. I want to make sure that the people in my district that are the roofers, that are the plumbers, that put the tile, have money to pay their bills, and that we don't hurt them without really knowing what that fee should be. And ultimately, that's where I come from. What should the fee be, so that we all can move progressively, as opposed to saying, well, I think it's going to be this just based on 16 years. And I wish I could think like that, but I can't, I won't. And I always will continue to look after all my residents that are here in this district, because that's why you elected me. And I'm telling you that this fee, whatever the number will be, hopefully will continue to help everybody and the respect of their families. And that's why I'm doing what I do.
Mayor, I'll go ahead. Go ahead, Father.
Okay. Well, step forward.
This is not supposed to be about personalities here.
No, and it's not.
But I made an appointment to talk with you. I made an appointment with you to talk to you, and you stood me up. And so don't sit up there. No, you did. You stood me up with that appointment.
Okay,
That's
well,
number one. I'm responding.
go
He
ahead.
said he cares about the people of his district. That's fine. I'm not arguing with that. But we could have talked about this. And second of all, the kayak lady that was just up here just a few minutes ago, whom the city has working in this issue, recommended a total of adjustment to bring this to a closure, and you're not listening to her. How many studies does it
Father.
take to get this taken care of?
Hold on, Commissioner.
Well, I'm
Let me answer
responding.
that. Father, I do understand what you're saying. You told me, be at this meeting at this time. You better be there, right? That's, as far as I'm concerned, that's what you told me. 2 minutes later, Father Frank calls me and says,
from the
you know
chairman of
what?
the kayak.
You know what? I don't even
Let him
want
have
to
it.
talk to you anymore after everything. I said, okay, so which one is it? And are we going to
No,
meet or
I
we're
made
not?
I made the appointment with the meeting
Well, that-
for
my
you. You
understanding
didn't
was
call
with
me, and I
both-
called you back, by the way, after that, and you
Okay,
didn't
you
return
know,
my call.
Fine, you know what, we'll hash
Sorry,
this
that's
out later.
the way.
Father, I have a letter there from the chairman of the kayak I'd like to give to you. I have a copy.
Another one?
Yeah, that's the one I read from David Vela, Longoria, the same one. If I may, I want to read a letter that, I had put a letter together because I knew this was going to happen today. And I'll
Oh,
read
this
it
is not,
real quick.
you already read David
No,
Bella's
yeah,
letter.
this is a different one. I agree with you. We both want the same things. I too want affordable utility rates, especially for those on fixed incomes and those in direst need. I also want affordable housing and good paying jobs for our community. But you've been told that the only way you can get what you want is by increasing impact fees. That our choices are either higher impact fees or higher rates. That is simply not true. As I and other members of the commission have said before, we will not balance growth on the back of the poor. I pledge to you today what I have told you before. I will not vote to increase the water and wastewater rates of those that need our help the most, the elderly and the less privileged among us, regardless of what happens with impact fees. The reality is that we don't have to choose between affordable rates or growth. We have many other options available to us that do not require burdening the neediest members of our community. But in order to do so, we have to look beyond just the narrow solutions we've been presented so far. We'll have to also look at building a more practical capital improvement plan, tightening the city's and PUB's belts, looking at other taxing entities to participate, as well as having developers contribute a fair share of the cost of our future growth. We just need the time to study and evaluate our options to find the best solution for us all. If we do it right, the benefits generated by well-managed growth will keep our rates affordable while generating the jobs and the affordable housing we so badly need. But if we don't do it right, we'll face potentially not only higher rates, but higher taxes and lower services as well. Let's not rush into something that we may regret later. In the meantime, as we study our options, be assured your water and wastewater rates will not increase. We have options and we have time. If we work together, work with the facts, and avoid politicizing the issue, we can find a solution that makes us all better off. That's just my personal opinion. Thank you.
All right. Now, let's finally get to what this was supposed to be about. Mr. Commissioner Longoria?
Council, with the addition of that extra language, Council,
Yes, sir.
with the addition of that extra language that was added onto B, did that language have to go before the process of public hearings? Because it was an amendment, it was a change to the original.
The public hearing process is a part of the capital improvement program and the land use assumption plan. Once we had approved that and set a number, the 2133 number, then the public hearings really were concluded at that point with respect to the impact fees.
But with the addition of extra language, removing the PUB kayak member, and there was two extra things added on there.
That came in the form of a motion from the commission to rescind the ordinance that implemented the impact fees. So
The ordinance, but this addition did not go before public hearing.
Well,
The public was not informed that the PUB kayak member would be removed.
the ordinance that
Well, no, the PUB kayak member, how did the original kayak committee, how was it set up? It just said a PUB board member?
A did not discuss that. A did not discuss the sitting.
When you saying A, what are you talking about? The resolution?
The resolution, 206.
Or I'm sorry, the ordinance?
A did not discuss the membership of the kayak, but yet B was number 11.
A is what we
Rescinded.
approved on September the 19th,
Yes.
or 17th, whatever the
That's
day
where the
was.
2100 were.
Okay. All right, so I think what he's asking, what Commissioner's asking is whether or not that could be done.
I think I understand. The ordinance to rescind the implementation of the impact fees did not require a public hearing. That's something that the commission can decide and vote on themselves. The language that was added doesn't really change the effect of the ordinance. It was approved as it was included in the packet, which was included the changes.
Who added that language on there?
Mr. Medina in the planning department, I believe.
Ben, you added that language?
And this is the way we have a problem, is because we've asked the city manager, we've asked a couple commissioners, we've asked the city attorney. Nobody's taking control of who put this added language in without permission.
You haven't asked me.
Well, I know it wasn't you.
Well, but
I just wanna make
the
sure I
question
know.
is, we can delete it or approve it, right?
That's correct, Mayor.
Now they want to know who put that language in there, Ben, so you tell them.
Yes, I added the language because.
On whose authority?
Wait a minute.
On whose authority?
Basically.
Ben, on whose authority?
On your authority.
On my authority?
The city commission.
No, you're wrong.
No.
Not on my authority.
No.
Whose
Don't take
authority
it
was
personally.
it?
No, wait a minute.
Okay.
Don't take it personally.
That's all I'm asking.
Quiet,
No, let me
quiet,
rephrase. Hold
quiet.
on, Charlie. Let me rephrase. What prompted you
Okay.
to add this language?
Yes, sir. Let me respond to that. Basically, what we're doing now, as direction from the city commission, is to develop another process.
I didn't give you
No,
that
no,
directive.
wait a minute.
He didn't give you that directive.
Hold on.
I'm asking you simply,
This-
Ben, here we go again, like we do on other issues.
No.
Ben, please.
No, let me respond, please. Loki, let me respond. Basically, this is a city process. The last process was basically initiated by PUB. This is a city process. In this case, we're not omitting anybody from PUB to sit in this committee.
That's what it says on number
we're not.
11,
Real quick.
So there will
Charlie
be a-
Kabler, you're the city manager. He's under you. Who authorized him? Did you authorize him to add this language? Who authorized him to do this language?
I believe that in meetings that we had and when the impact fee was taken off from the 2,000 back to the 270, that Ben felt that
280.
Ben felt that he needed to get with his city attorney and revise this plan.
But the city attorney said he didn't add this language.
And basically,
You have to have looked at it.
basically nobody has taken anybody off nobody's taken anybody off the kayak.
All it's saying is what, that the chairman of the
That's
PUB?
correct. Right, there's a
just
representative
strip-
from PUB.
I think the chairman of the PUB should be the one in the kayak.
Let's just strip page 6.
Commissioner, if you want
over it.
somebody to take responsibility for this, I will. It is my fault because I am ultimately in charge of everybody here.
All right.
I refuse to let
The
you take
question-
a hit for
no,
somebody
the
else.
question, the issue is, I think the point's been made, Ben, with regards to this. If you did this and whether it was at anybody else's instruction or you did it on your own, that's something that this commission was not aware of, or at least I know I wasn't.
Right. Well,
So in any event, I understand. Let's move on. Let's move on to the issue.
Please,
So-
just one more. What prompted you, as a director of the city of Brownsville, to make this change?
Okay.
Why do you, as a director of planning, decide that the kayak member from PUB be removed? That's what I want to know.
No, but it's
we're
not saying the kayak
removing-
member should be
We're
removed,
not removing
Commissioner.
anybody from, as a representative from PUB.
That's
me
what
ask-
the language
It's
says,
saying that the
Ben.
chairman, right,
the
of the
chairman.
Brownsville PUB
And-
sits on the kayak.
Let me ask a question real
No
quick.
problem with that.
Real quick, Ernie, did you have anything to do with this?
No. Okay, can I please respond? I haven't had a chance to respond.
Just answer yes or no, Ben.
Yes.
Okay, you did it. You shouldn't have. Don't do it again.
Well, no, but, no.
Yeah, if you did it, you did it.
This is not supposed to be,
This
this is not supposed to be a slap in the wrist.
Well,
This is not supposed
first
to
of
be.
first of all, this commission does not have anything to do with employment situation. This is for the city manager to determine.
Right.
I think we're expressing our disapproval with regards to this. This was wrong, Ben.
No, but Mayor, there was a public
I
hearing.
don't think an explanation is necessary.
Right, but one thing that Mr. Longoria, let me respond to Mr. Longoria.
Well, hurry up, will you?
Yeah.
Mr. Longoria mentioned that was this discussed in the public hearing? Yes, it was. You had this ordinance in your text of your backup to the agenda at the date of the public hearing. So this was already included days before for you to review and approve and then comment when there was a public
I
hearing.
will
open.
remind you of that, Ben Medina, the next time you bring something on my desk the day of the meeting.
No,
And
no.
it's something on my desk. I will remind you of that.
No, but that was on the agenda.
It was on the agenda days
was,
before.
Commissioner.
I realize that.
Okay.
All right.
Was on the
All
agenda.
right.
Bottom line, they're just taking hits for somebody else at a higher
Public hearing.
level. That's it, man.
All right.
Not a public hearing.
Mayor, okay, I think
Not a
we,
public hearing.
I know where we're headed with
Mr.
this.
Ahumada,
Okay.
I'm glad you all are not going to take me out and hang me or anything like that, but
nobody's gonna hang
the
you.
language there also.
Night is young.
The night's young. You can
page
take me to
six,
Vermilion if you want, buy me a beer. But
That's-
anyway.
Try that.
Wait a
After the
second.
meeting,
No, but let me-
not during.
Okay, let me say this. The language there that's inserted also takes away almost all authority from PUB, and I don't think that's right.
Does that take the authority away from
And
PUB?
invests.
He says, no, I don't think it does.
Yes, it does. If you read the wording, it gives him almost complete authority there instead of the way it was. We're the experts. We know what, not we, me, I'm talking about PUB. They know what the cost figures are. They know the engineer. We have the engineers. Ben does not. He's not the expert in this, okay? So I think it's unfortunate that the language was inserted there to where it takes some of the authority away from PUB. That's all I wanted to say.
Do we have a copy of A?
Here, he's got one.
All I'm saying, if we can remove that and change the city planning director to city manager, let Charlie take control of this, or Charlie Ayala. or the
City manager
council.
or his appointee.
Yeah, Charlie has a lot too.
Okay, well, whoever he appoints, I agree with that. But take off that language, because it wasn't there to begin with. Somebody added it, and just do away with it, because we don't need this extra
But it was,
bickering and fighting, man.
but the language was there on the agenda. We could have questioned it them too.
I'll make a motion to pass on second final reading this item minus that language.
I'll
Okay,
second.
let's be
I'll
sure,
second.
let's be sure the language that we're deleting.
second that.
The
He
PUB
gets
board,
to stay.
the PUB member of the kayak will remain as whoever the commission appointed. It won't be the chairman.
It'll be Mr. Pat Ahumada.
And the city manager and/or his appointee are authorized and directed to do all things intended. You got that
I'll
language?
second that motion.
Okay, is that,
Hold on, but us doing that, fine. That takes care of B. But we're not here to discuss B. We're here to go back to A. Okay, you're fixing B. Great. Thank you. You fixed B. We're here to go back to A. We wish to go back to A and reestablish the 2100.
If you have the votes, then go right ahead. I made a motion, you got a motion and a second, Mayor.
I got a motion, second, yep,
we have a motion to approve
everything.
On second and
item
final.
2E with the changes as discussed, deleting the language that I just mentioned.
The kayak appointee from
The kayak
PUB.
appointee, appointing the city manager and/or his appointee to direct to,
Page 6.
And send the
direct-
impact fees back to the kayak so they can do it right.
and to rescind, and to rescind it.
Yes.
That's correct.
All right. So we
One
have a
last-
motion by Commissioner Hernandez.
Hold on,
second
hold on,
by
hold on, hold on.
Commissioner Cisneros.
Eric, just one last kind of technical consideration, because this is so important. If we're going to make, even though those are very minor changes, then we should make this the first reading with those changes.
That's-
And follow it with.
Because we're
second.
making the changes, it becomes a first reading.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Even if we just delete, not add?
I believe so, because it's an.
Because I had
important
checked, Jim, and I think we could delete and it'd still be the second reading, but I don't have a problem with it, I'm just saying.
I think that in this case that we're better off to be certain and to do it procedurally with.
Can't do that. Can't do that. Settle down.
Sad. Okay, go ahead. Motion and.
I made the motion, you made the second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hernandez, second by Commissioner Cisneros. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Motion carries. All right, next item.
Two nays?
3.
Okay.
That'll go back to first reading.
Item 3, that was the first reading then.
Item 3.
Item 3.
Consideration and action to appoint 2 members to the Capital Improvements Advisory Committee.
Mayor, I was told that nobody has officially resigned yet. Mr. Lopez has said he was going to, but he hasn't done it, so I moved to table this item.
Motion to table by Commissioner Hernandez, seconded by Commissioner Cisneros. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 4.
Item 4, consideration and action to appoint or reappoint 1 member to the Brownsville Beautification Committee.
I think, Commissioner Arroyo, this is your appointment.
I'd like to table that.
Okay, we have a motion to table by Commissioner Arroyo, seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 5.
Item 5, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 2006-1288-B to amend section 50-73 of the Code of Ordinances, which established fire prevention and inspection fees.
Who's here on this item?
Chief? Go on to 7. Let's go on to 7.
It's a mockery.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. Before you, you have the fee structures. It's been since 1997 that we haven't increased our fees, and you haven't before you. We also have eliminated a few items. The only thing I need to bring to your attention that, as I was looking through the ordinance today, under temporary above-ground flammable liquid tank permits, they left out $125 for temporary C.
I'm sorry, which one, Chief?
It's not one of the increases, it's one of the regular ones that we have already in place.
Uh-huh.
It's called temporary above-ground flammable liquid tank permit.
Okay.
Who would be affected with that?
As people come in for permits and fee for inspections and stuff, they would be responsible for it.
What do you mean, like people who build
Regular
houses?
people for certificate of occupancies, permits for above-ground fuel tanks.
I think we should wait on that till we figure out this sprinkler thing.
Chief, since when was the last time the fees were raised?
1997 when it first adopted.
They have not been raised since then.
No, sir, have never been raised.
9 years, dude.
Okay, I'll go through them one by one if you want me to, so I can explain which ones are the ones of the raises. Daycare and foster cares. Currently, it's a $20 fee. We're asking to be daycares to $50 and foster homes to $30.
Both of those are going from 20 up?
Yes, ma'am. And your temporary food stands, instead of $8 per day, it's $10 per stand per day. Your above-ground storage tanks, currently it's a $50 and a $75. We're proposing a $75 to $100. On your burning permits, currently they're paying a $40 fee. We're asking for $75. Your bonfire permits, it's currently it's a $200 permit. We're asking for two different types. One for $100 if they don't need a fire truck, and one for $200 if they're requesting a fire truck. Bonfire.
How many bonfires have we had?
Annually, every school has at least one.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
And we're proposing to cut it in half if they don't need a fire truck, but we'll still be standing by, of course. Your fixed pipe extinguisher inspection, instead of a $30 fee, we're proposing $40. And standpipe hydrant test flow, we're asking that be deleted because we don't do that anymore. POB does. Your environmental research, we're finding that we're spending too much time doing that. We're proposing it from a $25 fee to a $50 fee. Your pressure test fuel oil lines from a $25 fee to a $50 fee. Your certificate of inspection.
All right, you know what, Chief? Does anybody have any particular questions or concerns with regards to to the requested rates?
May I do, Chief?
Yes, sir.
How did you determine the increase?
Mainly, it's staff's time doing these inspections, what it takes us.
Comparing it to different communities our size? with our
They're
department?
compatible. We check the prices. They're compatible to the rest of the season in the valley.
So we're not being extravagant in terms of these fees as
No,
compared to
sir.
others?
No, we're not.
All right. This is a public hearing.
Close.
Motion closed by
Second.
Commissioner Longoria, second by Commissioner Arroyo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Action.
Move to approve?
Motion approved
Second.
by Commissioner Arroyo, seconded by Commissioner Longoria. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item 6.
Item 6, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 2006-1439-A to amend Chapter 50 of the Code of Ordinances, Fire Protection and Prevention.
Sometime back when we first passed the fireworks ordinance in the city of Brownsville, we had eliminated a 5,000 ETJ requirement. I'm coming back before you to ask for that 5,000 limit to be implemented. The reasoning behind it is that we've been hearing rumors that there are more warehouses, fireworks warehouses being proposed to be built outside in the county area. We find that as the Fire Protection Authority that they're being built next to homes and schools, and we have a little bit of a problem with that.
Lenny, you say rumors. Is there facts?
No facts this
Rumors
time.
come from where?
From the different developers that we've been hearing, fireworks stand developers that we're hearing.
Like who?
Mr. G is one of them that told us about this.
That other ones are coming in?
Not coming in the county being built, other warehouses being built, similar to the one that they have on.
Well, I think they've been
Miami
doing it
Heights.
up in the other cities, in FAR.
There's been
they
about
got-
3 or
there's
4 been
several-
built in Harlingen.
Harlingen, there's several.
Yep.
So I think that's a great idea for the safety.
All right, this is a
For the
public
safety
hearing.
Move to close.
Second.
Closed by Commissioner Camarillo, seconded by Commissioner Nettles. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Action.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by
Second.
Commissioner Camarillo, seconded by Commissioner Nettles. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item 7.
Thank you, sir.
You, Chief.
Item 7, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 2006-919G, amending the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 110, Records, Section 110-67, 110-126, and 110-128, generally to comply with the state rates and ordaining other provisions relating to the subject matter thereof.
Robert?
Whose is this?
Mr.
Anybody?
Esparza,
Bueller?
he's trying to find out the election results.
Good evening, Mayor, fellow commissioners. I'm here tonight to, for 2 things. I'm here tonight to reopen the record rotation list from 12 to 16 and cap it at 16. Also to update the ordinance on the cost of the towing fees and auction fees, really.
That's all part of, is that all part of this same?
It's all in the same,
It's all on the same item,
Agenda item?
correct?
It is correct,
Okay.
Mayor.
Go ahead.
And what I'd like to do is open it up to 16 due to have other companies to see that city growth, and it's came up more. So there's other record companies who like to get into the rotation. To make it to go out of control, I would like to keep it at 16, from 12 to 16. I recommend approval on that.
A motion to close.
Second.
All right, let's,
Oh.
any other public hearing? I mean, this is a public hearing. Is there any comment?
No, go ahead.
Step forward, please state your name.
I'm Richard Rios, from owner of Valley Towing Record Service. What I see that they want to put other companies in rotation, and I feel that we don't need them. We do the service. I got 32 years doing this, and I don't think we need anybody else. We got sufficient records, and we have sufficient people to work the city of Brownsville. We're not in Houston, like, over there, like, there's a lot of wrecks and all that, and I don't think we can.
I'm sorry, your name again, sir, from Valley? Your name?
Richard Rios from Valley Towing.
Richard Rios?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rios, HEB doesn't want Walmart to come in with groceries, but yet they do. And they have every right to. And I believe that after all this time, we've already been at 12 companies, we should open it up, okay?
Last time, Robert, that was a question I was going to ask. How long ago was it set at 12 or capped at 12?
And with the city growing,
19 what?
The last time that the record's being opened up, Jesus, you go back about 15 years back.
Okay.
yeah, and with the city growing,
All right.
Yes.
A motion to close.
Oh, hold on a second.
Hey, give me a chance, man.
Oh, sorry, I forgot, I'm sorry. I'm new, man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm human like everybody.
No.
you know?
Mr. Diaz, go right ahead. You have your time.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
Everything is going up, the diesel, the gas, everything is very expensive, the insurance and all that, and we put more people in it, what's gonna happen is gonna hurt everybody else. And then pretty soon, everybody's be going down. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr., hold on, I think the lawyers have to justify their time here. Go ahead,
Charges hourly.
Mr. Garza.
Commissioners, it's a pleasure to be before you.
That's right.
Hello, everybody. I just want to say that I'm friends and I represent one of the record companies that's going to be coming into the city if you approve this ordinance. And I hadn't really had a chance to speak to the Chief of Police, Carlos Garcia, until just a few moments ago before this hearing. And I asked him what his opinion was, and I'm going to invite him to come up and tell you that opinion. But basically, he feels that we may be slightly underserved and we do need to add some additional companies so that the citizens
Take your word for it.
can get this stuff done. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garza. Appreciate you being here.
Motion to close.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Mr. Triani, did you want us to speak?
Hey, Carlos told me to.
All right, don't increase impact fees, Charlie.
Mayor,
As you
Commissioners,
listen
I'm
to
going
him.
to simply echo Mr. Garza's sentiments. We've spoken with the police chief. We feel that the increase will assist the city and clear out wrecks, make a little traffic a little bit smoother in the area. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Triani. All right, anybody else? All right.
Mayor, one last.
Motion to close.
Mayor, sorry, one last thing. I do want to say they don't just pick up vehicles that are wrecked, but lots, especially a lot in my district. I know, Commissioner, you're in your district, vehicles that are parked on side properties that are just left there to rot.
And
They do a lot of that, and we've had a lot
The
of those
ordinance was
issues.
changed to give the authority to code enforcement and health department and people that pick up vehicles, the ability is to have these records pick
This
up
may,
cars.
actually, this is going to enhance all of the work that they're doing for the
Exactly.
benefit of the city. All right, Commissioner Atkinson.
No, you do it now.
Motion to close.
Motion to close by Commissioner Zeros.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action.
Move to
Motion
approve.
to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Atkinson.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.
Thank you.
Item 8, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2006-606-CU, amending the text of the city zoning ordinance by allowing a conditional use permit for the sale of on-premise alcohol for lots 6, 7, 8, and 9 of blocks 42, 43, and 44 of Los Ebanos property subdivision located at 715 North Expressway 7783, known as Days Inn Motel.
Honorable Mayor and City Commission, this is the site of the Days Inn Motel. In this particular case, if you recall, was heard before on the, on 10/3/06, and bringing it back to you for a first reading because changes to the conditions. One of the conditions was to put a cedar fence in the rear of the motel because they were gonna have, or they're gonna have a establishment that will sell alcohol and liquor. And one of the conditions was this gate in the rear that would be closed. That condition will be changed to have it open during the times of operation of the El Torito restaurant, which are between the hours of from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. So we can add that condition in this first reading. The Planning and Zoning Commission did vote to approve this application.
Charlie, this is the one, where's Mr. Cavill?
For the gate.
Yeah, this is what, and I mean, everybody's aware, the neighborhood is aware that this is going to alleviate the traffic concerns that they've been having with regards to this area, right? All right.
So this gate will be closed from 3 p.m. to 6 a.m.?
That's
I assume?
correct, yes,
Every day?
every day.
What's
And
the
do
hours
do
of
the
operation?
neighbors know that? It's only going to be closed during those hours?
Yes,
I thought the whole point was that they didn't want through traffic through there.
the church, which the new church on the corner there behind this establishment agreed to that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And the neighbors, too?
We did not hear anything from them.
Okay. All right, so, yes, at P and Z,
Go ahead.
there was no, okay. Public hearing?
Motion to close?
Motion closed by Commissioner Hernandez.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Action.
Motion to pass on first reading?
Motion to approve or pass by Commissioner Hernandez, second by
Second.
Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item.
Item number 9, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2006-607-CU, amending the text of the city zoning ordinance by allowing a conditional use permit for the sale of on-premise alcohol for Lot 1, Block 1 of London Town Properties subdivision located at 2050 North Expressway 7783.
Ben, this is La Mexicana restaurant?
That's correct, Commissioner, Honorable Mayor and City Commission. This is the site here. This is La Mexicana Restaurant, a new restaurant in town. They would like to sell beer and alcohol beverages.
You
This is,
notified everybody at the border apartments there?
yeah, the
Do
owner.
you have any complaints or?
The owner of the property. And the Planning and Zoning Commission voted to approve this application to you.
All right, this is a public hearing.
So move to close.
I want to make sure that she's not here on this.
There's someone
Is
right
there
there. right?
someone here? Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
No,
of the,
yeah. Sí,
Yeah.
no, 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 no.
If, we want to make sure there was
I'm sure
anybody
she's in
against
favor
it.
of it.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
So move to close.
To close public hearing by Commissioner Nettles.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Action.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Nettles. Seconded by Commissioner Arroyo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. I'm sorry, item 10.
Item 10, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2006-062 to rezone from dwelling A classification to general retail G classification, 5.33 acres out of Lot 3, Block 109 of El Jardín re-subdivision near Boca Chica Boulevard and Iowa Avenue.
Honorable Mayor, City Commission, this is the site shaded in red here. This is the airport. This is Boca Chica Boulevard. The Plan and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to recommend this application to you.
This is a public hearing.
Motion to close.
Motion closed by Commissioner Atkinson, seconded by Commissioner Arroyo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Action.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Commissioner Atkinson.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Arroyo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item 11.
Item 11, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2006-064 to rezone from dwelling A classification to light retail G classification, 0.357 acres out of Block 6, La Nena subdivision near Military Highway and Sella Avenue.
Honorable Mayor, City Commissioners, this is the site right here. This would be converted into an engineering office. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval to you.
This is a public hearing.
Move to close.
Motion closed by Commissioner Camarillo.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Nettles. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Action.
Move to approve.
Motion approved by
Second.
Commissioner Camarillo, seconded by Commissioner Nettles. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item.
Item 12, public hearing and action on first reading of protested ordinance number 235-2006-058-S to rezone from professional office F classification to light commercial F classification on Lot 7 of Block 2 of Henrietta Addition, located near McDavid Boulevard and Velma Street.
Honorable Mayor, City Commissioners, this is the site shaded in red here. This is a protested case. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted denial of this application. This is for a used car lot. Will also be a supermajority. This is the site in question here. This yellow, I guess, poles here. This is the proposed parking lot for the used car lot. There's an alley separating the car lot already in existence from this site. So there's a public alley that people use to get in and out of the rear of their homes. This is a protested case, as I mentioned, and needs a supermajority.
Ben, why was it denied? Why was it denied by P&Z?
P&Z felt that the people used the alley behind, separating both lots, and currently the current owner does utilize the alley to unload cars, et cetera. And I also believe that it was already getting into the residential, if we put the map back on, getting into the residential area with its high intense use. There is a little, I guess, takeout coffee shop here, but this intense use is different. Starts coming down into residential with less intensity zoning.
Ben, the deli is there shaded in green,
Yes.
but yet he wants to do a lot in that shaded area. And then there's the blue shaded area where he has his current lot, and then there's Mr. Taco, and then there's the paint place. Okay? So, in all fairness, isn't it following the trend?
Well, it's coming down towards less intense zoning, Commissioner, and also the.
I realize that, but he's in the middle. He's in the middle of a deli, and he's in the middle of a car lot.
True. And also.
What is it that he wants to put?
And also a used car lot. And also the concerns of the neighborhood.
Let her speak.
If you could state your name, please.
Hi, my name is Carolina, and I work with Millennium Auto Sales. And there's an alley between the car lot and the other side of the section that we're going to be using as a parking lot. The alley, we're going to be using it in order to direct the customers into that other area. So this is going to cut down on a lot of the traffic coming in and getting into the residential area. So, I mean,
Can you try to point out on the photograph what she's talking about, Ben? Because those pictures don't make That's McDavid.
right there, yes.
And Velma.
And then what street is that one?
Velma.
Velma, okay.
Right.
And then right there, the corner that you can't see it is where the deli is?
No, the deli's over here,
Deli's on this
on the other
side.
side.
Yeah,
of
yeah,
Velma.
what's that one right there that you can't see? You see the grass, isn't that the deli?
That's
That's the deli.
Thing, okay.
Yes. So there's already another business on the other side. There's two other businesses on both sides. So,
Let me ask you something real quick. I went out there to go look at it. That's done. Y'all don't even have a permit, right?
no.
Why
no,
is it done without a permit?
No, it's not done.
I went out there. Don't tell me it's not done. It's done. It's ready to put cars in. And the thing is, y'all didn't have a permit to do it. And you all put up all those things. Go back to that last one. All that. You don't tell me it's not ready to put
No,
cars
we
in.
put those posts up there, you know, we did start that.
The
We
caliche's
went-
there. Everything's ready to go.
What was there before?
Yeah, there was
been improvements
trees
to
and
the
there was
property?
shrubs and stuff like that, so we did cut
Improvements
all
like
that down. And we weren't gonna start any of the asphalt, they require like a 2-inch asphalt or something like that.
What?
Or blacktop, I'm sorry.
The thing I have a problem with is that you all did that without even having a permit.
But I wasn't,
That's-
I
To me,
mean,
that's an integrity issue.
I
with
wasn't
me.
aware that we needed to get a permit for that, but I mean, now that we are aware of that, I mean, we have stopped everything on all that.
But y'all got denied at the P&Z.
There's not gonna be any entrance and exit onto McDavid?
No, sir.
Right? It's gonna be
no,
only on
none
Velma?
Whatsoever. Only through the alley, that's correct.
When did we start using alleys as major, to come in and come out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
When
don't
did we
know
start
about
using
that.
that?
That's the
That needs to be
problem.
looked at.
That's an issue.
Well, that's, I mean,
No,
really,
just-
I mean,
they
we're
use
using
the
the alley
alley.
just to mainly cut down on any of the traffic coming in through the residential area,
And I think that's what's been the problem, ma'am.
to redirect all the traffic.
Exactly, and that's been the problem with the businesses there and the traffic and having a car lot. I had opportunity to see some pictures of how, when you brought in cars, where you parked them and so forth. I don't know how you could actually sell cars. I don't know where the customers are parking because, you know, either or not, they're parking in front of other people's homes, which, you know, becomes an inconvenience for everybody who lives around that area.
Well,
And-
I mean, that's the main purpose of opening that other side, I mean, to park the employees and the customers on the other area. We're not gonna use that section mainly to sell, I mean, we're not gonna use it to sell, we're gonna use it for our employees and our customers to park over there. So, I mean, that's to cut down on a lot of the traffic.
Is there anybody else here?
Don't agree.
Yeah, just more people.
Step forward.
Mayor, maybe this is just, I would just like to add something that maybe we could address later. The issue, now that we brought up the issue on alleys. I had this alley fixed on a petition from somebody complaining about the alley. I was called and I directed it to David, and we used the millings from other projects
Yeah, I didn't get mine.
to pave this alley. I did it, okay?
David, I
To
didn't get my
pave,
alley
to pave that
fixed.
alley, to get it fixed up for the residents and the people there. Okay, now, this would be a good time to start looking into the future and addressing the problem with the alleys, because and I'm sorry to be using your public
We
section
don't have a
for,
problem helping out, you know, to repave that, because I know that a lot of our traffic has, you know, been a problem of messing up the road there, the little alley. So we don't have a problem, you know, trying to fix that.
well, it's just food for thought for later on, so we can start addressing the issue on alleys.
All right.
Go ahead, Ms. Torres.
Call me
Step
David.
forward.
Take credit for mine.
Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Zulema Guerrero Avete. I live at 625 McDavid, across from that yellow, whatever you would call it. Okay? The reason why I'm here is because on the 30th of August, I came to talk to Mr. Ayala. Before then, on the 17, 18, and 19 of August, my husband and me had a trip planned, so I had to leave, okay? But during those 3 days, after 5 o'clock, I know that code enforcement leaves at 5. And a lot of people take advantage because they're not looking, okay, or not seeing. So all this was done on those dates, 17, 18, and 19, from 5 o'clock to about 9:30 at night. As you can see, all those posts that were there, everything was done. So when we came back, my son told me, because he was taking care of my house, and he said, "Mama, all those cars have been there since you left." I didn't know what was going on, but I did see that they put about 15 trucks of dirt and caliche, and I told my husband, "What's going on?" He said, "I don't know." We had not been told that they were gonna build something there. We didn't even get a letter or anything, so I said, let's wait when we come back. On the 30th, I came and I spoke to Mr. Ayala. And I said, Mr. Ayala, I'd like to know what's going on. And he said, what? I said, this and this has happened. So he said, I'll get back to you. And then he did at the end of the day. I said, I want to know what's going on. I think that is, since we live here, we're supposed to be notified what's going to be built there or what. The answer was they didn't have a permit. And up to now, there is no permit there, okay? And that's why I'm here. I don't think that should be there. I'm gonna let you know. I'm 74 years old. I've been married 49 years. We have been living in that area for 44 years. And we all are a close family. Velma, McDavid, and Blanche. We're older people, you know. And we like to continue keeping that corner right there as a professional area right there. We don't need a car lot. Thank you.
You have a petition too, right? Did you have something signed from the people
That was
around there?
submitted. You submitted that to the P&Z?
I did the copies that I have. Yes, sir, I did.
Okay.
I had,
What is it currently zoned for?
what? Professional.
It's commercial.
office?
Commercial F, Mayor.
Half of it's commercial and
It's
half
just
of it's
the office.
residential.
How did the other lots that are there, is that specific use, or are they,
Yes.
They're commercial.
the car lots, the other car lots?
Oh, the other one?
Were they specific use? How did they, did you all,
It was already there.
well, when they came in, Ms. Abbott, was there objections from the community?
We were not notified when they first
Wait.
came there for the
I'm
car lot.
I'm talking about the ones that have been there now for several years.
It's the same lot.
It's the same.
It's the same owner.
It's just an extension.
It's an
Oh.
extension of Millennium Auto Sales.
But I believe that, you know, we should keep that a professional corner right there for something else, like a beauty shop, an office, a little snack stand like the one I have across the Taza Dulce, but not a car lot. Car lots, there are a lot of car lots on Southmost and 18th Street, okay? And on this one,
As a Southmost Commissioner.
you know, you might want to hear my other people there, but I do want you to hear one, that's Mr. Robert Esparza, okay? And this here, believe me, it's bad. They do a lot of noise. They got music every weekend. I got pictures here. You want to see all the pictures that I have? You can see them.
You're talking about the car lot?
Yes.
Pachangas?
Yes. They barbecue. They have music till night. Stop laughing, I'm sorry. I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
Is it late? Do they do it late? or-
Yes.
Like how late?
Like on Halloween, it was till 12 o'clock, from 6 to 12. On Saturdays, it's from 12 noon till about 7:30 in the evening. And the music, the beers, you can see people passing through there, small kids with their parents, and they're the men over there chatting, having beer, you know. We're not used to that. We're not used to that. And we don't like it. We don't like it at all.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Thank you, Ms. Abbott. Is there somebody else that you said?
Nothing
that-
wrong with having a beer.
I tell you what, Robert, if you could, let's let her go first.
They're using the alley.
That.
Using the alley.
Quisiera saber si me permiten.
Sí, cómo no, señora.
¿Cómo no?
Claro.
Yo soy la dueña de ese lote. Lo tengo desde hace muchos años. Me lo regaló mi padre, el señor Valentín. Resulta que he estado tratando desde hace años pasados de clasificar ese lote como comercial. Estuve esperando a que todos los demás lo clasificaran, como pasó con el de mi hermana, que es el restaurante, que está un poco más para Boca Chica. Entonces, ya viendo yo que todos aquellos lotes estaban comerciales, decidí yo también hacerlo comercial. ¿Por qué no? Dije, es el último. Entonces, me di cuenta que al otro lado del mío, desde hace años eso, estaba un carro de lotes, vendiendo carros, un lote vendiendo carros. Y me apresuré pues a hablar con Silvia Castro de Bienes y Raíces y le dije que por favor asumiera la responsabilidad de eso para poder rentar ese lote. Ella habló con el señor que está rentando el lote para el lote de carros y él aceptó rentar mi lote. Se hizo un contrato y yo le di ciertas semanas para que él pudiera sacar los permisos y todo eso y ver si el comité, ustedes podían darle el permiso para hacerlo clasificación comercial. Pero resulta que yo la vez pasada no podía asistir y la que se encarga de eso, Silvia Castro, me dijo que por cosas, debido a cosas del tránsito, no podían ustedes clasificarlo como comercial. Entonces yo me puse a pensar cómo es que a los otros se los clasificaron y al mío no. Por eso estoy aquí, precisamente, porque yo quiero saber por qué es que a los otros ustedes les están dando la aceptación de comercial y no me lo dan a mí.
Yo no sé, yo nada más, lo que estoy viendo, ¿verdad? Es que yo pienso que es comercial, en mi opinión, pero no sé si, Ben, if you can help me, no sé si hay un procedimiento que deben de seguir, no sé si lo siguieron. Eso es lo que estoy tratando de saber hoy. Did they follow procedure I believe it's commercial, but I just don't know if the procedure was followed.
It's a professional office.
So it's not for a car lot?
No, it's not.
Did
for
they go to P&Z to try and get the car lot? They did. And they were
applied
turned
for
down.
rezoning, yes, and they were denied.
Señora, a lo mejor su representante no lo avisaron bien, o le avisaron que la mesa directiva de P&Z Planning and Zoning hizo la decisión de no aprobar la aplicación. Obviamente la razón, las quejas del barrio, de las personas que viven ahí, tuvo algo que ver con eso. La otra situación, y yo le voy a decir que para nosotros, para mí, nosotros no nos gusta cuando alguien empieza a trabajar en su empresa si no tienen el permiso. Eso es la otra cosa. Alguien debería de sacar el permiso primero antes de empezar la construcción y todas esas cosas.
Yo le estoy al tanto de eso, porque yo en el contrato especifiqué claramente que los permisos tenían que ser primero.
Déjeme terminar. Ahora, los otros lotes que están adelante de usted o antes de ese lote que estamos, de cualquiera estamos hablando, eso ya ha tenido muchos años en esa posición, en ese tipo de trabajo, ¿ok? Pero esta vez sí notificaron a los dueños, como la señora que acaba de hablar y los demás que firmaron la petición, poniendo sus objeción contra esta aplicación.
Sí, pero él no, este lote, o sea, el que yo estoy rentando, el que yo voy a rentar, sí.
¿Qué es esa propiedad?
Es mi propiedad. No puede, es el mismo que está rentando el otro lote. O sea, que va a ser el mismo negocio. El negocio no va a cambiar. Es una extensión nada más.
Sí entendemos. Sí entendemos.
Ok, gracias.
Anything else?
¿Otra persona? Anybody else going to speak?
Yo soy la esposa de la señora dueña del lote.
¿Su nombre, señor?
Roberto Wells. Por 20 y tantos años ese lote ha estado baldío, como donde está el restaurante, el Taco Loco o whatever. Se le dio oportunidad, se puso un edificio portátil y está bajo lease ese lote sin problema. Porque después de 20 años nosotros pagando impuestos, después de 20 años de hacer la limpieza correspondiente a lo que piden los reglamentos de la ciudad de Brownsville, ahora se nos impide rentar ese solar. Para nosotros, como dijo la dama anteriormente, tiene 70 y tantos años, yo tengo 80 y tantos años, necesitamos ese income para poder subsistir. Ahora, todos esos lotes, la cafetería, el lote de mi señora, el lote de los carros usados, el restaurante y el de la esquina, todo eso era propiedad del señor Enrique Valentín. ¿Por qué ahora a mi esposa se le están poniendo esta clase de problema?
Pues como le traté de explicar, a lo mejor no lo viste bien, señor, no es una situación contra su esposa. Nosotros nomás podemos aprobar o no aprobar las aplicaciones cuando el propiedad tiene diseñado una aplicación. En esta situación, el lote suyo, de su esposa, está designado nomás como una oficina. Eso es porque tuvieron que venir a la ciudad a pedir permiso especial para utilizarlo en esta manera, de un lote de carros, de automóviles. Eso es porque no es algo personal contra ustedes. Cualquier persona, sea el dueño, tuviera que hacer la misma cosa. ¿Okay?
Yo convengo.
Y tiene buena razón. El consejo que yo le podría dar es que yo creo que ustedes también con la compañía de autos, creo que se deberían de unir a comunicar con el barrio para avisarles en qué manera no va a afectar a la vida de ellos. Porque eso es la cuestión de nosotros, y yo lo tengo que tomar atención, estos deseos, porque ellos viven aquí 24 horas, todo el tiempo. Y ustedes, obviamente, son los vecinos nuevos, tienen que tomar eso en su pensamiento, en su manera de cómo quieren trabajar esta situación. No es algo específicamente contra usted, pero cuando esas aplicaciones vienen enfrente de nosotros, muchas veces no hay ninguna objeción del barrio, se pasa fácil. A veces si hay quejas del barrio, nosotros tenemos que oír eso también, a tomar eso por nuestra decisión. Pero no es algo que nomás está pasando a usted.
Bien, y se puede, ¿cómo se llama?, solicitar el cambio de zoning en esa área.
Eso es lo que está pidiendo, o están pidiendo, ustedes.
Sí, porque ya hay capital. Ese
es el problema también, señor.
Sí, esto ya no es cosa mía.
Y la otra cosa es, y yo entiendo que empezaron a hacerlo sin permiso, pero ahora lo están tratando de hacerlo bien por el procedimiento, el proceso. Pero no podemos brincar antes de saber caminar. Robert, did you want to say something?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Robert Esparza, Mayor, Commissioner. The reason this went into last board for the building was the traffic issues that they were creating, the problems they were creating. The residents will keep on calling me up and complaining that what's going to happen, what are you going to do? The issue was that they had traffic on the city right-of-ways. They would put cars on the city right-of-ways. And I would go talk to the sales reps, Bobby, I don't know about the original, to tell them to please remove your cars. They did 2 or 3 days. All of a sudden, I get another call from the neighbor saying, we can't see incoming traffic. The line of sight is not, we just can't see. So I went down there, I talked to him again. Same thing happened. So what I did, I put some dome posts on the city right-of-way, and they should take care of the problem. Well, I guess they outsmarted me, and they put the cars between the dome post. So I had to go back there and put cable on the dome post. In other words,
can you point is there any,
That was in the other lot.
oh, oh, okay, that's right, that's right, that's right, it's on the current lot,
Is
okay.
there a burden to the alley? I mean,
The alley, I got a call that they don't allow, they're doing, to begin with, you can, by city ordinance, you cannot park in an alley. The alley is not made to be parked. You can unload merchandise and move right away. You can't do that. But other to sit there and block the alley and let the neighbors go by, then, you're a violation of the code the codes. But,
That's public right away.
that is all public right away.
Yep.
You cannot use it. But the issue is that if they don't control their vehicles, it becomes a traffic hazard. And that's what the calls I get. This is only a traffic issue. If it goes to a car lot or not, that is not me to say so. What it is just, I'm here just to keep safety and keep traffic safe as I can. And it has been creating a lot of problems.
Does it affect anything on the daycare, the children's daycare right across the street?
I cannot speak that. It does affect the traffic. I really can't speak up for the daycare across the street. I don't know anything about that. But I do know
Oh,
that I get a lot
okay. I remember
of
now what
trouble
you're talking
from the residents there that they cannot handle their driving. Any other questions?
All right.
Robert, so it is
Any-
in fact, I'm sorry, Mayor.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
It is in fact part of the ordinance that people cannot be parking in the alleys.
The ordinance states you cannot park in the alley. You may unload in the alleys and move on. Now, see, the ordinance says the alleys are made for utility construction, gas companies, power lines, sewer, water. It's all made for utilities. It's not made to turn around and operate your car lot or any kind of business, not just a car lot or any kind of business you're going to have on the alley. It's only one thing, to unload. Fire department, EMS, emergency vehicles may use it, and utilities. That is all. It is not made to unload cars or made to unload anything else.
But
or
let's
block the alley.
say my parents live on Impala, and there's an alley between Impala and Delta. And if my mom goes and parks in the alley, is she violating city ordinance?
Yes, she is.
Okay. So that means that half of my district is violating ordinance.
Yes, they are. Imagine if I had to go to every one, I'll never finish, Commissioner.
I move to close.
Second.
Any, go ahead, please step forward.
Oh, is there somebody
Thank
else?
you.
I'm sorry.
Again?
Yeah.
Again, Charlie?
Election day, man.
Election. My name is Maria A. Hinojosa, Honorable Mayor and Commissioners. I just want to set the record straight. The lady who came saying that she had pictures, I don't remember her name.
Ms. Avete.
She said that on the 31st, there was music until 12. I just want to correct that the music was not coming from the car lot that she accused. It was coming from Mr. Taco. They started their music to celebrate Halloween at 7. And at 10 o'clock, I was getting ready to go to bed. The music was still on. I called the police department. They came and asked him to stop. But it was not Millennium. It was Mr. Taco.
Did they stop?
They did.
Okay.
job, Chief.
And the police showed up, thank God.
Good job, Chief.
Now, in saying the music, there is music in that area. We have the Thomasville Furniture that on Saturdays, they have their music going on with their furniture out in the pavement for additional
across the
business.
street?
On Boca Chica.
Yeah.
Okay, they have music. I don't want this lady to consider that the music is coming from the car lot. It may be coming from the Thomasville Furniture. So it's not always Millennium.
Let me ask you,
problem.
I guess you live in the area? Ms.
I
Hinojosa?
live on Blanche Street. Yes, sir.
Did you sign the petition against?
No, sir.
You
I am the owner to the property that is now being rented out to Millennium Auto Sales.
Oh, that one right there?
Present one.
Okay. So you're related to
To
Ms.
who?
Valentin? Ms. Welsh?
No, I am not. I
thought
bought that
her-
I thought it was their property.
I bought that property from Mr. Longoria, 1988.
Not the
Okay.
commissioner.
No relation.
No,
I
not him.
thought, maybe I misunderstood. I thought Mr. Welsh said that his wife's sister had the property where the lot is located now.
Possibly Mr. Longoria may have bought it from them many
Oh,
years
okay.
ago. I don't know what the circumstances were
Okay.
to that, but we bought that property. And now, if the commission allows them to have that request that they are asking to classify it to their benefit to use and as an extension for the car lot. We're all looking at it as a negative about traffic, traffic, traffic. We also need to look that they're going to have that extra spacing to alleviate the traffic that's burdening the other areas. I have a lot of traffic in front of my home on Blanche Street, not just from the car lot people, employees who park there. I have traffic from Mr. Taco that are always parking there, and this is another subject. But this would alleviate the Millennium traffic because they would be allowed to park in that spacing that they're requesting.
Good
That
point.
would alleviate Blanche Street traffic and the traffic not allowing the sign so that Mr. Esparza does not have to come in and complain to Millennium. I hope that you would reconsider.
Thank you, Ms. Hinojosa.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Step forward, please.
Hey, Ben, let me ask real quick. Ben, before you, give me 1 second, let me ask real quick. Is Millennium designating an area just to park the employee vehicles? Or are they going to fill it up with cars and then they're going to go back to parking where they were parking prior to
We
that?
mainly want to use it for our employees and our customers, the extension part, because I know that a lot of the traffic that we're getting to the neighbors and to the residents there in that area are due to the fact that we don't have any space for them. And that's the main reason we're renting out this other area to alleviate a lot of the traffic.
But you got to admit, it doesn't look like you're setting it up as a parking lot.
Well, no, we gotta put that around there because, I mean, a lot of times they have, stolen vehicles and, to keep the vehicles from coming in from any other direction, we have to block it off because a lot of people are gonna try to come in as an entrance through the front or through the sides, so that way they know that the entrance is on the other side where the alley's at.
But
That's
have you
why
all
we blocked
filled
it
out like a
off.
specific use for that, to
Yes.
stating that? Yes. Okay.
Yes. And, another thing that I want to, correct, I mean, I don't know if a lot of people know that our hours are from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and we do have music, but we're not blaring it. And, we keep it to a minimum.
Was there any discussions made with the group to try to alleviate some of their concerns?
No, you mean going to the residents and talking to them about that?
Well, like at the P and Z hearing or prior to it, or,
Nothing was brought up about that, no, sir. I mean, we're willing to work with the residents as far as if there's any issues that they have with this and that we can resolve with them by talking to them, we can work that out. We don't have a problem with that. If they can come and let us know what it is that they're having problems with us about.
Is Ms. Abate still
We'll be
here?
more than happy to work with them.
Okay. Ms. Abate, what, I know, okay, you felt, let's see. What exactly is your specific complaint? And I understand that if they're open late and have music, those are valid. I'm talking about this new lot, assuming that they're supposed to do and what they're supposed to do, which is only sell cars or utilize part of it as a parking lot, which would help the traffic area concerns that are on the other side. What other concerns could? Go ahead and step to the mic.
My concern, sir, is the people that pass through there to the store, to Walmart, to go eat. My husband and me, we walk most of the evenings, my next door neighbor. And with this car lot that it's already there, that we have had problems with the sidewalk, we're gonna have the same problems on this corner over here. Because, let me show you.
Okay, wait a minute. You say problem with the sidewalks. Is
Yeah,
that because
we're
their
gonna
cars
have-
are
no,
on?
No,
As far as music and stuff, we do promotional things like that, for our customers. And, I mean, I think every business has the right to do that.
We understand where you're coming from. And to be honest with you, I'm not inclined to approve it because they got ahead of themselves. However, that doesn't mean that they can't reapply. That's why I'm trying to suggest that if there's some meeting of the minds so that they understand the concerns that you're raising. So The concerns that I understand it is, number one, they've had some loud music,
Okay.
and they've had some barbecues, but your complaint is because they shouldn't have been allowed to do that, not because they're doing it.
Yeah,
No,
'cause there's nothing-
because we don't like the idea of having a car lot there, like I say. Keep it professional. Look from Palm Boulevard, from Palm Boulevard to Old Alice Road. There are businesses on both sides of the street. But the front is like a family business there. Not a car lot, sir.
Okay.
Let him
Thank you, Ms.
speak.
Abate. Let me have this last individual speak.
I cut
and
him
then-
off when
then
he
we-
was coming up.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Fred Lara. I'm my mom's neighbor to Sulema Abete. My mom's had that property since 1966 ago. Like you said, Mayor, right now, if they went illegally, without a permit, can you imagine what they're gonna do next? That's the way I see it, okay? I'm a registered voter. You're here to help us and to help them, okay? The way I see it, it's gonna be up to you, because I already went to zoning and they denied it. The thing that gets me, I have a high school student, I got an elementary, no, junior high student right now, and the last time that I passed through there, they had two young girls with big signs in shorts and say $50 down. What is that to the public? That's all I gotta say.
You know, stereotyping, I'm not into stereotyping, you know,
Well,
for
but-
a registered
oh,
voter or not. We're
Mr.
gonna-
Lara,
What's
let me-
right?
The thing is, whether we approve it or don't approve it, they're going to continue to advertise and sell cars where they're at right now, which is all of 15 feet away, I guess, 20 feet away.
Yeah, that's understanding, Mayor, but like you said, if they would have come to the community.
That's fair.
That's
fair.
the way I
But the
see
other
it.
comments, you know, I'm not into stereotyping.
All right, I think.
We're doing what's right.
Yeah,
We
but you're doing
appreciate it.
right for the community.
All right.
I'm gonna say something real quick. This is my district, and like I said, I went out there. It's gonna cause problems to the alley. I don't appreciate them doing what you did without a permit, and we got to send a message to people out there too that you can't go build everything up and then try to fight it through the P&Z and then leave it up to us. I mean, you didn't have a permit. You should have had a permit, and you still built it. So I moved to close this. I said my piece.
All right. We have a motion to close
Second.
public hearing by Commissioner Atkinson, seconded by Commissioner
Mayor.
Cisneros. All in favor?
May I say something? And,
That's close.
Before we vote, go ahead.
the owner of Millennium came and obtained a permit to, and the only reason it was issued was only for them to use the property for 30 days. It was for them to use, not to construct, but they did give him permission. The only reason he gave him permission is said because it's going to be very difficult for you all to get a site-specific use for that property. And this was understood. We did shut them down after a while, after they started moving in, moved the building in, but they did get the use of the property for 30 days. That was it. That's the only, and it was so stipulated on that issue by the permit department.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ayala. We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action.
The motion to deny the resolution.
A motion to deny by Commissioner Camarillo,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Arroyo. All in favor?
Aye.
All
Abstain.
opposed? All opposed? Motion carries with one abstention. All right.
Pass.
Next item.
Item-
I would suggest that you get together with the neighborhood to see if you can reach some kind of an agreement with them.
Ben, will they have that opportunity?
Yes.
If she goes back and reworks it with the,
Sure, that's the benefit of the specific
Yeah,
use.
we'll start again, but yeah, they can.
We can do that again. Just do it the right way.
Next item.
Item 13, public hearing and action on first reading of protested ordinance number 235-2006-059-S to allow an apartment-specific use, a duplex building on each lot in a dwelling use district for lots 64, 65, and 66 of Stewart subdivision located near Arnetta Lane and Kelsey Street.
Honorable Mayor and City Commission, this is the lots in question. This is Kelsey Street, and you have Austin Road here. In this particular case, also a protested case. The applicant would like to build a duplex on each of these lots This was voted denial by the Planning and Zoning Commission. So the applicant is appealing to this commission for approval.
Ben, are there other duplexes in the area?
Yes, they are, Commissioner, and we did a study. We went out there, we drove the area, we have laid them out on a map. And yes, there are other duplexes in the area. Where? Throughout the neighborhood, and Noe will put that on the map. Keep in mind that this area was annexed into the city of Brownsville in 1999, and probably a lot of those were in existence while it was out in the county. Here's the proposed duplexes, and what you have here are the duplexes, and you also have a little store here in the back of the neighborhood here.
Was there any opposition from the neighborhood?
No, there was not.
There was no opposition from the neighborhood, yet P&Z being told that they had other duplexes in the area, that there is a store
Yes,
within the
as I
close,
said,
and apartments.
Yeah.
Yet now P&Z felt it fair that this applicant be denied.
That was the decision of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay.
This is a public hearing. Step forward, please.
Señor Mayor, comisionado, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es José Llorente.
Si nos puede dar su nombre, por favor.
¿Perdón?
Su nombre, por favor.
Lo dije, José Llorente.
Perdón.
Sí, señor. Yo represento a la familia Villarreal, quienes son dueños del terreno, de los terrenos, perdón. Traigo aquí algo que les quiero mostrar porque aquí el señor Medina ha dicho que, pues, que ha pasado no sé cuánto tiempo para los que están ahí. Traigo unas pruebas aquí que quisiera mostrarles para que los vieran, por favor.
Déjales aquí dos. Mr. Llorente, 50 y 51 ya es un duplex.
Permítame, déjeme.
Ok.
Sí, señor, efectivamente.
En mero enfrente de la propuesta que usted trae, ya existe un duplex.
Oh, sí.
Y
En la parte de atrás, está el alley y en la parte de atrás.
Ok, corre por la Chilton.
Así es.
Y en Chilton también 53, 54 y 55 son duplexes.
Así es, ahí están las fotos que lo están demostrando. En la parte última de la calle Chilton hay un dúplex también, que es el lote número 58. En el lote número 30, en la misma calle Chilton, hay dos casas. Otra cosa, también el señor dice que es dwelling A. Si ustedes ven el IRAM o la página tercera, es dwelling G. ¿Sí?
Sí, señor.
Ok. El señor dice que hay un grandfather clause. La última hoja que tienen ustedes es un permiso que se dio en el año del 2003 para hacer un dúplex. Específicamente, una de las fotos que está ahí, que es la más reciente, dice A y B. Creo y digo yo, pues, que no hay razón el por qué se esté negando para que se construyan estos dúplex, puesto que ya lo hay. Y aparte de ello, que hay uno reciente, ¿sí? Dijera yo, tiene 20 años, 25 años, o fuera una colonia específicamente nueva, pues hasta yo haría mal en estar aquí. Pero es una colonia que ya tiene más de 35 años o 40 posiblemente, y ahí no hay ninguna correlación con ninguna urbanización nueva o casas nuevas que se puedan renegar. Al contrario, lo que se va a hacer más casas o lo que sea para los habitantes de aquí, Brownsville, más impuestos, más todo que se van a generar, y hay mucha gente que requiere de habitaciones, y en este caso van a ser nuevas. Hay muchos que yo he visto que están cayéndose y no hay problema. Va a ser nuevo totalmente. Apelo a ustedes, por favor, para la situación de que lo revisen y pues que lo prueben, ¿no? Porque las pruebas se las estoy mostrando de que hay varias situaciones de que pues están un poco mal en el departamento, y perdón por lo que lo digo, pero pues, aquí traigo las pruebas y son contundentes. Gracias.
Thank you, Mr. Dante.
Gracias. Is there anyone else? This is a public hearing.
Move to close.
Second.
Um,
Motion by,
I'm sorry, motion by Commissioner
Atkinson.
Longoria, and
Commissioner
seconded
By
by
Commissioner Atkins.
Or Commissioner impact fee?
second.
Was there a motion?
No. I move to approve.
I'll second it.
Did we have the vote on the closing the public hearing?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
We did?
Mayor Pro Tem, we
We
closed.
closed the public hearing.
Yes. I would move to approve.
I'll second it.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion
Motion
carries.
carries.
Pasó.
Next item.
Item 14, consideration and action to rename Morningside Park to Emilio A. Hernandez Morningside Park.
Here's, right.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, I put this item on the agenda. I have the honor of being the nephew of the former Mayor Emilio Hernandez, and based on some personal things I've seen happen the last few years to friends and family that have died at a very young age, it's always has been the position of many commissions in the past that we should not name or recognize facilities until after people pass on. I tend to not agree with that. I think there comes a time when people should be honored for what they've done for the community. And I've chosen Morningside Park. I'm very cognizant of the Morningside Park area being very special to some people. I remember when they tried to change the name of the school a while back, there was quite an uproar. So my suggestion would be to name the park Emilio A. Hernandez / Morningside Park. Some of his accomplishments included Morningside Park being the first park it was probably the sports complex of the 80s because it was way ahead of its time. There was, today it's still a premier park. It was, when it was built then, it was used, CDBG funds were used to build that park. It was the first time in the history of Brownsville that HUD money was used. And it was very important to my uncle at that time to build that park in that particular neighborhood because it served the poor, the population of the poor. And today, I think it stands as a very, very vibrant park. It's probably still the premier park in Brownsville. And I could go into a list of accomplishments that he did, but rather than that, I'd make a motion to please rename Morningside Park after Emilio A. Hernandez.
Commissioner, I share your sentiment for what your uncle did for this city and for what your friend's late father, which will come up on 15, also did for this city. Now, this is in no way to do away with the idea of renaming Emilio Hernandez Park. Simply, I would like for this commission to consider something that was brought up in the past, that we establish a naming committee for streets, for highways, for parks, when it comes relevant to the city. When it comes, I know that the county has asked us when they rededicated Hugh Emerson, when they dedicated Eddie Lucio honorably on their highways. I would like for this commission to take into consideration maybe for us establishing a committee with guidelines to set proper guidelines that would be able to help us when naming. Not just, I'll give you a perfect example. Lucino Rosenbaum Sr. worked the majority of his life at Gonzalez Park, but yet Gonzalez Park is already named. I was considering at one time renaming the soccer portion to Lucino Rosenbaum Sr., the portion of the park. But I feel that before I were to bring anything like that before this commission, before I would ask anybody on this commission to consider the naming of any boulevard or any street or any park, that we bring it before an established committee, and that committee decide, establish criteria, establish guidelines, and therefore that committee would give us a recommendation on whether we approve or we do not approve the naming of a park, a road, or a boulevard. And I bring that before this commission also.
My motion still stands.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion to rename by Commissioner Hernandez. Your motion is to rename Morningside Park to Emilio Hernandez Morningside
Emilio A.
Park?
Hernandez / Morningside Park, not taking the Morningside off.
How about switching it though? Morningside Park Emilio Hernandez.
Whatever sounds more appropriate. It doesn't matter, whatever, I want to keep.
Because everybody knows
Morningside
that Morningside Park.
Yeah,
Of course.
And Ernie, please don't take this the wrong way where
I don't.
where
Yeah.
I'm going at that. It's just that I believe that we should establish some sort of guidelines for naming. I mean, I could honestly tell you that I'll come back next meeting and I'm going to run and rename a park. You know, Charlie Kabler's dad, and it just so happens that Charlie at the time was Commander Kabler, but Commander Kabler's father at that time donated the acreage to Chachalaca Park. Would I want to consider naming Chachalaca Park Kabler Park? Of course I would.
Yeah.
But I would like to bring that to a committee.
Let me just give my 2 cents.
Okay.
I just think we're,
Cents.
and again, I had this discussion with Commissioner Hernandez, I think we're opening up something.
Yeah.
There are a number of worthwhile individuals now and in the past who have served this community. I don't think there are enough parks, streets, buildings to name after everybody, and it's not to diminish or lessen their impact on our community, but I don't believe that anybody on this commission or anybody who's ever served this community, appointed or elected, did it with the intention of, boy, I hope they name something after me. I know that's not what anybody. It's obviously nice when it happens, but I just feel we're opening up a can of worms. After looking at the accomplishments of Mayor Hernandez, I'd forgotten some of the other stuff that he did. So it's certainly not that he's not deserving of it. I guess I just have a philosophical issue with regards to that, to the whole naming issue, but be that as it may. We have a motion, we have a second to rename the Morningside to Hernandez Morningside or Morningside Hernandez Park. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Staying.
Motion carries. Item 15.
Item 15, consideration and action to rename St. Charles Park to Gene McNair St. Charles Park.
Mayor, again, and Commissioners, I have spoken with the McNair family, and they asked me to please pull this from the agenda. They had some, they were very honored, but they had some concerns that they wanted to be addressed later on. So with that, I make a motion to table this item.
Motion to table by
Second.
Commissioner Nana, seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 16.
Item 16, consideration and action on resolution number 2000.
Real quick, can I say something real quick? Let me ask you something. I'm not familiar with this. Okay, we granted these, that's fine. But can we start as of tomorrow? Start what he was saying about a committee to,
We gotta
and your
pass-
idea?
pass
I think
it.
that's something
Yeah.
we need to charge
Put
our
on-
city
put it on the next
manager
agenda.
to
Excuse me?
begin. I think that's something we obviously put on the agenda, but charge our city manager to begin to create a committee, or, I don't know if this body needs to create it, but something staff needs to put together.
Yeah, okay, that's all I want to know. That
I'm not sure, well, again, and I understand the reason for the committee, but then the criteria is going to be, well, I don't know. How many times, how long did you serve? Was it this position? I mean, I don't know. It's just big can.
Well, I could look up some of the ordinances in other cities through the park system.
Why don't
Why don't you do that, Skip?
All right, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Skipper.
Item 16. You already read it, Stella, didn't you?
No, I
Oh.
need to read it. Item 16, consideration and action on resolution number 2006-065 to request the members of the 80th Legislative Session of the State of Texas support for increased funding for the Texas Recreation and Parks Account Local Park Grant Program and the Texas State Park System.
I don't know if you're familiar with Parks and Wildlife grants, but over the past several years, the funding for these grants, which the city has received $500,000 in matching funds in the past, has gone down quite a bit, so the number of cities receiving these grants has also gone down. So as a group, the Texas Recreation and Park Society is asking all their city commissions to come up with support for increasing the revenue back to what it used to be or higher. And because I think it's really in need, our park
I so
systems
move.
are going down.
This
think it's a
is-
good idea.
Yeah, this is
Second.
something that regardless of who wins today, I hope that they take some attention, make some attention to this in Austin, because this has been a travesty what's going on with our park system. We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Neto, seconded by Commissioner Arroyo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We should have
you.
done
Hey,
this
Skip,
before the
since you're up
election.
here, good job at the Brownsville Country Club, working on that drainage deal with the golf course. You guys did an excellent job. City employees.
Thank
Tell them I
you.
said, thank you.
what do y'all charge
Engineering
over there?
department was
What do y'all charge over there at Brownsville Golf Center?
You gotta be able to play first.
For you, about 27 or $8.
'Cause I noticed that you give $5 discount to the city employees.
That's for this Friday. We're coming up with some creative funding or, sources for revenue, whatever. And no, we're really trying to try some different things out. We're trying to get more city employees involved. We're trying to come up next year with having on Wednesday a city employee league along with PUB and some other entities, and really trying to make that course into something everybody be proud of. I think the engineering department deserves a lot of credit, Doro and them, for what they've done out there, and we all supported them and made it happen.
They did a good job. I drove around and it's excellent. Good job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Skip. Item 17.
Item 17, consideration and action to authorize the approval of change order number 1 to the terminal ramp expansion Phase 3 project.
Mayor, City Commissioners asked to consider and take action on change order number 1 to the contract with Foremost Paving Incorporated for the terminal ramp rehab project. This change order will install new asphalt, creating a safe taxiway surface for taxiing aircraft moving to and from a series of hangars. The project is paid for 100% with federal funds. The cost is $100,800. The location is shown on the map being projected onto the wall. Staff recommends approval, and I'll be happy to address any questions.
Would you approve?
Motion to approve by Commissioner Camarillo, second by Commissioner Arroyo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Item 18, consideration and action to authorize the City of Brownsville Aviation Department to enter into a lease agreement with Cameron County for the Cameron County Restitution Center.
The purpose of this item is to ask the City Commission consideration and action on a renewal of the land lease between the Cameron County Restitution Center and the City of Brownsville at the airport. This is a land lease only and reflects a continuation of the lease of the same site, which is for just over 40,000 square feet. The lease will generate $790.45 per month, or $9,485.40 per year. It will automatically increase in 5 years to 16 to 17 cents per square foot. The updated lease has been reviewed by the County Attorney's Office, the City Attorney's Office, airport staff, and is recommended for approval.
This is an action item.
Would approve?
Motion approved by
Second.
Commissioner Camarillo, seconded by Commissioner Nettles. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item 19, consideration and action to authorize an interlocal agreement between the City of Brownsville and the Valley Municipal Utility District Number 2 for the installation of water and sewer lines for the World Birding Center.
Honorable Mayor and City Commission, as part of the development of the World Birding Center, the City of Brownsville has an agreement with the Texas Parks and Wildlife. A part of this agreement, as the City of Brownsville will provide water and sewer to the front gate of the World Birding Center. With this interlocal agreement, which will, in the next meeting, we will come also with a budget amendment of approximately $130,000. But with this agreement, the World Birding Center will have water and sewer provided by Valley Municipal Utility District Number 2, which is a provider for this site.
So it's just an interlocal agreement, Ben?
The interlocal agreement
What
where
is that allowing us to pay for this? Yeah, I think we need to get an update. The commission needs to get an update on this
On what's
project.
going
on the whole
with
project.
Yeah, on the whole
Yeah.
project. 'Cause it's been a while, and I've been briefed, but I don't know if everybody else has, so.
No.
This is an action item.
So move.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Nettles,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 20.
Item 20, consideration and action to authorize the city manager to accept the 2006 State Homeland Security Program grant in the amount of $152,000, $297.65, and additionally to decline the state of Texas use of an additional $248,211.85 in 2006 SHSP funds for selected statewide projects.
Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, with this item, we're requesting that you allow the city manager to accept the 2006 Homeland Security Grant Program grant in the amount of $152,000 and some change that you see there. We're additionally requesting that the city manager be authorized to deny that the state of Texas utilize an additional $248,211.85 of funding that had apparently been earmarked initially for the city of Brownsville, and the state's desire was to then utilize those funds for other statewide projects. In taking this action, it's our understanding that the $248,000 will be added to the $152,000, bringing the total 2006 Homeland Security Grant Program amount to $400,000. And with this action, then, there would be a subsequent new subrecipient agreement.
With that said, so move to approve.
Wait, hold on. real
No,
quick.
hold on
Oh,
a
you're,
second.
if
Hold on
we
a second.
approve it, we're gonna get the
No, well,
4,000?
no, but-
400,000?
No, well, I want to make sure, because we're declining, and I'm sorry, I did not read the memo
Go
completely.
ahead, Jeff, say what you were
Real
saying.
quick,
Explain it.
before we get into that, real quick, is this FEMA money? Did it originate in Department of Homeland Security?
This
Homeland
funding
Security.
originates with the Department of Homeland Security.
Okay, I'm gonna abstain on this one.
The 248,000 change, that was originally earmarked for Brownsville?
Well,
And then they wanted to give it back to the state?
Yeah, let me back up and give you a little bit
Okay.
of history. Last year,
Then I
in the
move my motion.
2005 grant, we received about $578,000. And we were told that in 2006, those funds would be reduced by about 30%. So we were expecting a slight reduction. When we received news of what our amount was, you can see the dollar amount, it's $152,000, which comes out to over 70% reduction in funds. The city then requested from the state clarification as to why a 30% reduction in funding had suddenly turned into 70%. And the eventual answer that we got was, well, the state has some other statewide projects that they wanted to work on, and so those funds are hopefully going to be used for those purposes. When we got the subrecipient agreement, there was an included election form that you see there in your packet, and you can see the amounts where the state is saying, these are the dollar amounts from the initial grant that we would like Brownsville to relinquish to us, the state of Texas, to utilize for other projects.
Number 20.
Did they ask
That's
this
kinda
of
confusing.
every other community?
They asked it of all the communities that received funding in the 2006 grant cycle.
Some communities signed it actually, and they're retrieving it, they want it back, and.
Because they didn't read it.
What's your recommendation, Jeff?
So my recommendation is based on what I'm seeing other communities do and based on the fact that we can use the funding here locally. My recommendation is that we accept the $152,000.
But decline?
That we decline the additional funding to go to the state.
So technically, that additional funding of 248 should then come to us?
As
We're
I
not
under-
sure.
As I understand the federal mandate under Homeland Security grants, 80% of the money that goes to the state of Texas in a lump, which is billions of dollars, needs to be passed down to the local jurisdictions. In essence, what happened this year is because the state received a 30% cut, but had projects in line, they felt that maybe they should ask the local communities to
okay.
pitch in
I got it.
additional funds to make up the difference at the state
All right,
level.
so we have a motion to approve.
That was my
as
motion
as,
to do that.
oh, I'm
As
sorry.
read.
Hold on. Go ahead, Chief.
Mayor, member City Commission, I had an opportunity to talk to Steve McCraw, who works out of the governor's office for DEM, and I specifically asked him this question, and he pretty much told me that that money they would hope to have had in hand to be able to push some programs forward at an earlier date versus 2007 or 2008. I asked him specifically, if we decline to give that money back to the state, would we get it? He said it would have no impact, and we should get most of that money back.
Okay.
That's my motion.
So we have a motion to
As
follow the
read.
recommendation.
As read.
Mr. Johnson, our emergency coordinator.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Abstain.
With one abstention by Commissioner Atkinson. Item 21.
Item 21, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase and delivery of 30 computer workstations for the Brownsville Public Library.
Come on, Paul.
Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, at the request of our Public Information Service Director, Jerry Hedgecock, the Purchasing Department solicited proposals from Dell for the purchase of these 30 computer workstations for the internet access for the Brownsville Public Library System. These computers will be replacing computers that are very well worn out in the Internet Resource Center. The bidding requirement has been satisfied by the DIR, Department of Information Resources, which is an agency with whom the City of Brownsville has entered into interlocal agreement. Brownsville Public Library has worked with Dell representatives to select workstations for internet access at the Brownsville Main Library. Dell is the DIR awarded contractor for this type of computer equipment. We recommend your consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase of these 30 computer workstations to Dell Inc. The total value is $26,250, and the good news is Funding for this procurement is available from grant funds, entirely through grants.
So move.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Nettles, seconded by Commissioner Arroyo. All in favor? All opposed, motion carries. Next item.
Item 22, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase, delivery, and installation of system furniture for the City of Brownsville Management Information System.
Honorable Mayor and Commissioners, as part of our overall ERP project or Enterprise Resource Project, we're getting to the point where the MIS department needs to be renovated to move forward with this project. Part of the renovation going on there now, being done by city crews, is to create a classroom area because, as you may well imagine, there will be quite a bit of training involved with the new application software and the other components of this overall project. As a result, we have gone to our local, not our local, but our regular system furniture provider through a text-mass contract. We've put together some innovative solutions for that space, which is rather limited in size. We request your consideration and action to award a contract to Southern Metal Industries this evening. The value is $49,031.21, and this will be funded from the 2007 CO fund.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Atkinson, seconded by Commissioner Nettles. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item.
Item 23, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase, delivery, and installation of gymnasium floor covering at Gonzalez and Elevated Park Gymnasiums.
Mayor and Commissioners, at the request of our Parks and Rec Director, Skip Keller, the Purchasing Department solicited a buy-board proposal for this procurement. The bidding requirement has been satisfied by the Texas Local Government Purchasing Cooperative, or buy board, an agency with whom the City of Brownsville has entered into an interlocal agreement. Parks and Rec Department has worked together with Vector Concepts, Inc. representatives to develop specs for the gym floor covering requirements for this project. The project consists of the purchase, delivery, and installation of gymnasium floor covering at Gonzalez and Oliveta Park Gymnasiums. Vector Concepts is the buy board awarded contract for flooring and sports surfaces, products, and installation. We recommend consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase, delivery, and installation of gymnasium floor covering for the Gonzalez and Oliveta Park gyms to Vector Concepts, Inc. They're from Irving, Texas. The value of this award is $114,241.92. It's a buy board contract pricing, and funding is in place for this procurement.
So move.
Motion approved by Commissioner Nettles, seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item.
Consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase and installation of playground equipment at West Brownsville Little League Park.
Mayor and Commissioners, Parks and Rec Department has worked together with Total Recreation Products, the exclusive game time representative, to develop specifications for the playground equipment requirements for this project. The project consists of the purchase, delivery, and installation of playground equipment at West Brownsville Little League Park, all installation subcontracting, bonds, and installation supervision. Game Time, Inc. is the buy board awarded contractor for playground equipment, and we have used them in the past very successfully here. Game Time, in conjunction with Total Recreation Products, their exclusive representatives in the area, will perform the playground installation. We recommend consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase and installation of this playground equipment at West Brownsville Little League to Game Time, Inc., Cypress, Texas. The amount is $24,995.82, and funding is in place.
So move to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Nettles, seconded by Commissioner Arroyo. All in favor? All opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
We have no public comment, so this meeting is adjourned.